What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. Armed Color, Natural Disaster. 1AC. Chapter 1. Teach, this time belongs to Blackbeard. Ask for flower evaluation votes. Advertisement. See Circle Calendar 1520, Wano Island, Grand Line. On a passing merchant ship, Lei Luo leaned on the bow and watched the flames and black mist rising from the island in the distance. The flames are as dazzling as the sun, and the fiery temperature can be felt even across several sea miles. There is no trace of variegation in the black mist, as if it has a breathtaking gravitational force. Just looking at it will make people feel like they will be sucked into it. It's better to come early than coincidentally. Ace, I'm about to lose. Lei Luo on the bow squinted his eyes, and the corners of his mouth curved into a cold arc. 8 years ago, he traveled to the world of pirates, was rescued by Whitebeard at a critical moment, and became the most mysterious deputy captain of the Whitebeard pirate group. Even if it is the absolute core of the Whitebeard pirates, the captains of the 16th Division have never seen his true face, and the general crew don't even know the existence of his deputy captain. As the unknown vice captain of the Whitebeard pirates, his duty is to suppress the rebellion without anyone noticing. It is true that Whitebeard's family members are on board the ship of the Whitebeard pirates, but once someone betrays the family and touches the bottom line, someone needs to clean up the door. What the deputy captain does is what the captain is inconvenient to do. This time, Blackbeard Marshal D. Teach committed a heinous crime by killing Sage, the captain of the 4th Division, and then defected to establish his own family, attracting the reckless pursuit of the captain of the 2nd Division, Ace. After all, Whitebeard was worried. He told his sons on the surface that the matter of the 2nd team would be handled by the 2nd team, but secretly asked him to come out immediately. I took the time to rush to Wano Island, and I caught up with this historic scene. If Blackbeard is not stopped, Ace and even the entire Whitebeard pirate group will be hanged. The flames and black mist on the island each occupied half of the country, and the fierce fighting intensified. The huge air waves generated by the collision of the two spread over, blowing the large merchant ship Lei Luo was riding backwards. Mr. Lei Luo, thank you for escorting us all the way, but I'm afraid we won't be able to land on the island. Steve, the captain of the merchant ship, stood tremblingly behind Lei Luo, looking at Wano Island, which seemed like a natural disaster, and felt palpitations. But compared to Wano Island a few nautical miles away, the young man sitting on the bow made him tremble more. Advertisement. After sailing this way, this gentle and elegant young man killed 3 pirate groups who came to rob him. To treat this god tier, it is natural to be careful and serve it. I'm really sorry that I couldn't send you to your destination. These are the boat fare you paid before, and we have a little meaning. Thank you for your help along the way. While talking, Steve handed over a suitcase, which was full of Bailey banknotes. Lei Luo took it over without any politeness. You're welcome, and thank you for sending me here. Plop. Before the words were finished, there was a plop sound of falling into the water, and Lei Luo plunged directly into the sea and disappeared without a trace. Only Captain Steve, who had been speechless for a long time, was left standing there dumbfounded. Wano Island. Ace's mouth was bloodshot, his eyes were determined, and he held a huge great fireball in his hand. Perhaps because of the high temperature, the fireball showed a dazzling white. The beast Blackbeard hides too deep. After working together in the 2nd team for so many years, he didn't even notice that this guy is a master of individual skills. What's even worse is that the Logia Dark Fruit ability that this guy got after killing Sarge is too restrained to demon fruit power, and Mara fruit can only exert less than 60% of its ability. Life was suppressed to the point where even the elemental body of a Logia ability user could not use it. This time he came out alone to clean up the house. Maybe he was really reckless, but now, he has no way out. Only by clearing the door, can the soul of the killed Sachi be rested in peace, and the betrayed father can save his face. For the sake of daddy, this B******** D Teach must die, fight. Great Flame Precept Emperor Yan. The giant great fireball in Ace's hand shines on ultimate. Thief ha ha ha. Blackbeard Teach laughed strangely, revealing the missing teeth in his mouth. Seeing that the former captain even showed his nirvana, Teach also knew that it was impossible to recruit Ace into the gang. Advertisement. Immediately, he extinguished his love for talents, and the black mist gushed out from his body, and more black mist gathered together, as if it could swallow the light. A look of madness appeared on Blackbeard Teach's face. Whether the sun is stronger or the darkness is stronger, there is only one who can win. Ace calmed down instead. I choose to support Whitebeard as king. In the blink of an eye, the fireball collided with the black mist, an extremely dazzling white light burst out, and the earth-shattering explosion turned half of Wano Island into scorched earth. The smoke and dust from the explosion slowly dissipated. With a calm face, Blackbeard strode to the dying Ace, grabbed Ace's neck and lifted it up, and said with a sneer, understood, the rising sun can't be against the one that has been hidden for many years. Dark. As a former member of the 2nd team, Blackbeard is too aware of the weight of Ace, the captain of the 2nd team. It is no exaggeration to say that from the moment he met Ace, he had already secured the victory in advance. Now I have the most terrifying power in the world. Logia Dark Fruit. Absolute power beyond all devil fruit. Blackbeard Teach, whose body was full of black mist, laughed arrogantly, revealing a kind of extreme arrogance and arrogance without a doubt. Thief ha 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 ha. This era belongs to Blackbeard. It's not in vain that he has been lurking in the Whitebeard pirates for many years, and risked being hunted down by the Whitebeard pirates to snatch it from the hands of his former life and death brothers. With dark fruit, Papa Whitebeard's shock fruit might have a plan. It seems that the Logia dark fruit you snatched from Sarge gave you a lot of confidence. Suddenly, a familiar lazy voice sounded behind Blackbeard. Da da da, rhythmic footsteps followed closely, filled with a vague sense of oppression. Teach. No, Blackbeard. Chapter 2. Lei Luo's armed colors ask for comments and flowers. Advertisement. MK Sports. Zhongjin Zhongjia, Teiyu Zhongli, Rang Nin Jing Kai Kai Chi Shinda Yin Yen, Zui Gao KT Xian 36 Wan, Wu Shu Kun Quan. Lejia Zheng Duo Shang Qing. A familiar voice fell into his ears, and Blackbeard seemed to have suddenly remembered something. This voice. Could it be? When he was in the Whitebeard pirates in the past, he overheard Papa Whitebeard using a phone bug to contact a person called Brother Lei Luo. The strongest man in the world, Whitebeard Edward Newgate actually has a brother. He was startled. As a lurker who may turn against the water at any time, he will never allow the Whitebeard pirates and other strong men he doesn't know to exist. Quickly inquired about this matter from the captain of the 4th Division of the Life and Death Brother and Drinking Buddy, Saki. According to Saki, there is indeed a deputy captain above the captain of the 16th Division of the Whitebeard pirates. However, the vice captain, Shenlong, can't see the beginning and the end, and only has one-line contact with Papa Whitebeard. Even the captains of the 16th Division only know that there is such a person, but have never seen his true face. Could it be the guy named the vice captain by the father? All kinds of thoughts flashed in his mind. Blackbeard turned around subconsciously, his eyes flashing fiercely glanced out, and the next moment, he was completely stunned. What came into view was a figure nearly 2 meters tall, who looked to be in his early 20s, with bronzed skin, sharp eyes, and a hint of laziness on his sharp-edged face. The slightly naturally curly shoulder-length black hair is casually tied into a ponytail at the back of the head, and the outline of bulging muscles can be seen under the dark and straight suit. The only decoration on her body is the hand-folded white paper flower on her chest. Stepping on tiger steps, moving like a dragon, it is strange that such a tall and mighty person walks as light as a feather. The sound of footsteps was dull, but there was not even half a footprint left behind. Goo. Blackbeard swallowed unconsciously. This man is very strong, very strong. The tyranny of the breath is not inferior to that of Whitebeard. But so what? If he is still the Teach of the past, facing this existence, he will definitely be a man with his tail between his legs. Advertisement. How 7+ size models are shaping the future of fashion. Inspire. But today is different. With the absolute power of dark fruit, the world-renowned Fire Fist Ace was defeated by him, even stronger than Father Whitebeard, and only worthy of being a pawn to be planned. Not to mention a deputy captain who dare not show up in the Whitebeard pirates, like a dark mouse in a stinking ditch. Thief ha ha ha. Blackbeard's iconic smirk sounded again. Even the deputy captain Lei Luo has been dispatched. It seems that Dad really wants me to die. However, if Dad hurts his son, does that count as hurting or betraying his family? A thief ha ha ha. Blackbeard's fat and bloated figure was shaking, Black's cloak was draped over his shoulders, revealing the lush black hair on his chest, and his arrogant attitude was beyond words. The next moment, the piercing laughter stopped abruptly, and the conversation changed suddenly. Deputy Captain Lei Luo, a mere yellow-haired boy. If you want to handle me, practice for another 100 years. The Blackbeard thief looked at Lei Luo with a ha-ha, standing there alone in a relaxed way. The provocation was self-evident. Dark Cave Road. After finishing speaking, Blackbeard slammed his hands together and shouted loudly, and the black mist all over his body rushed out like a flood that opened the gate. The pitch-black mist seemed to turn into tentacles, constantly entangled Lei Luo who was still charging. Dark Cave Path. This is the strongest move that Blackbeard has mastered since he obtained the Logia Dark Fruit. It releases the darkness, and people or objects touched by the darkness will be directly pulled into the darkness, compressed and crushed. The range of the move is enough to cover a town. If it is cast in a small area, the gravitational force and shattering ability will increase exponentially. From the moment he saw the deputy captain, he was scheming and made a battle plan. The deputy captain is very young. What is the commonality of young people? It's impulsive. Just like his second team captain Ace, he dared to chase and kill him without knowing his strength. Thief ha 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 ha. Just lie down, deputy captain. And at this moment, Lei Luo in the distance also stomped his feet suddenly. His figure was as fast as an arrow from the string, so fast that he couldn't see clearly. He came to Blackbeard in the blink of an eye, clenched his fist, and a layer of jet black color wrapped the whole fist, as if coated with a layer of black film. The pitch-black fist fell like a cannonball, and the dull roar of the fist shook with roaring sounds. Advertisement. In just a split second, the air was filled with the smell of burning, and there was a power that was suppressed to ultimate. The pitch-black fist rapidly magnified in the fundus of the eyes, but there was a touch of disdain and mockery in the fundus of Blackbeard's eyes. After all, he is a yellow-haired boy, thinking that he can take down Lousy just by being full of blood. Don't be silly, fighting is about skills, more importantly strategy. Do you think you're Whitebeard for rushing so recklessly? Especially young people who are strong in their own strength and are extremely confident in their own strength. Just stirring up their anger can easily make them lose their minds. Ace, who was easily defeated by him earlier, is a good example, and this Vice Captain Lei Luo seems to be more irritable than Ace. Maybe this guy has the strength to match Whitebeard, but he is still too young after all. Completely fell into the game he set up. And this guy chose the most stupid and reckless way to rush over directly. At such a short distance, no matter whether he wanted to change his moves or avoid it, it was too late. He will directly crash into the dark cave, and what awaits him will be the shattering of the dark gravity. He is dead. But suddenly, Blackbeard's smile froze, and the twitching corners of his eyes couldn't believe it. Boom. As if he was directly hit by a mountain, his strong body directly smashed through the black mist in his dark hole with the momentum of sweeping thousands of troops. Under Blackbeard's trembling eyes, he was punched to the flesh and received a solid punch. Blackbeard's whole body flew upside down, setting off a dull air current. The figure as strong as a black pig smashed through the trees and rocks on the island, flew straight to the coastline, and landed on the beach. Puff. Blackbeard, who fell on the beach, vomited out a mouthful of inverse blood uncontrollably. His brain was buzzing, as if it was about to explode. The previous arrogance were no longer on his face, only the inexhaustible fear remained. Chapter 3. Fan Oka's Sniper Attack. Ask for flower evaluation votes. Advertisement. MK Sports. Zhongjin Zhengjia, Teiyu Zhongli, Rang Nin Jing Kai Kai Chi Shinda Yin Yen, Zui Gao KT Xian 36 Wan, Wu Shu Kun Quan. Lejia Zheng Duo Shang Qing. A corner of Banero Island. FK. How is this possible? Lafitte, who was flying in the air, and Fan Oka, who was observing the situation through the special sniper scope, exclaimed at the same time. When Captain Teach fought with Fire Fist Ace before, they hid here to stand by in order not to be affected. Seeing Fire Fist Ace being beaten to the ground by Captain Teach, I thought the battle was over like this, but who would have thought that a brat would come out of nowhere and stab him horizontally? Worst of all, their captain, Blackbeard Marshal D. Teach, was blown away by this unknown yellow-haired boy. Lafitte and Fan Oka looked at each other, and they both read the shock and incredibleness in each other's eyes. Captain Teach, the man who fought his way out of the notorious Whitebeard pirates. The man who took the Logia Dark Fruit, the man of absolute power. Easily defeated the man who offered a bounty of 550 million, the big pirate Fire Fist Ace. Just got blown away with a punch. Even seeing it with my own eyes is still unbelievable. This feeling is like wandering around Yaozi in a dream, it's so unreal. Not good. That guy went to the captain's condition is very bad. Lafitte in the air suddenly said, he has a wider field of vision than Fan Oka in the air. Fan Oka's expression froze. They were at the other end of Banero Island. He was the only one who could support the captain at such a long distance. Lafitte, send me up. Lafitte immediately bent down and lifted Fan Oka into the air. This is not the first time the two have cooperated. He knew exactly what Fan Oka wanted to do, and immediately tensed up all his muscles. Except for the flapping of the wings, the whole body fell into a static state, as if transformed into a cold sniper stand. Fan Oka moves faster, the bullet is loaded, aimed, and the influence of wind speed and humidity is eliminated. The brain is running at high speed, while calculating the sniper trajectory, it is also synchronously adapting to the frequency of Lafitte's floating in the air. Advertisement. The guy in the sniper scope, hey, is full of flaws. Fan Oka tapped the trigger lightly with his finger, ready to go. On the other side, Blackbeard struggled to get up, the left half of his body was already numb, and there were bursts of tearing pain from the back of his neck. Apparently, the cervical spine is broken. This guy, so fast, so terrifyingly powerful, and that black membrane covering his fists, is it Haki? This punch hit the body, it was like being hit hard by a big hammer. If it weren't for his body being born different from ordinary people, the blow just now would have killed him. Is this the strength of the vice captain of the Whitebeard pirates, so terrifying? Compared to this vice captain, the physical skills he is proud of, the physical skills that defeated the big pirate Fire Fist Ace with a bounty of 550 million is like a joke. At this moment, Blackbeard was extremely thankful that he did not encounter the vice captain when he escaped from the Whitebeard pirates. Otherwise, he will surely die. But how on earth did this guy break through the dark fog generated by dark fruit? The essence of dark fruit is pure darkness gravity. People who touch the darkness will be forcibly sucked in, squeezed, and crushed. It is impossible to break open with brute force. The scene just now didn't match his perception of dark fruit at all. Etc. Blackbeard suddenly thought of something. There is no doubt that people who touch the darkness will be forcibly sucked in by the gravity of darkness. But what if he didn't touch the darkness? Just like a flame, if you touch it directly, you will be burned, but if you don't touch it, the burn will naturally be invalid, and the flame can even be fanned out. The same goes for darkness. Advertisement. Maybe this guy didn't touch the dark mist at all. Not only did he not touch it, but the moment he was about to touch the dark mist, he used a method similar to fist pressure and fist wind to disperse the dark mist scattered in the air. Although this possibility is very small, it is real. However, if you use fist pressure to disperse the dark mist, how much tyrannical fist pressure will it take to do it? Can Daddy Whitebeard with Paramesha shock fruit do it? The more Blackbeard thought about it, the more frightened he became, and he felt guilty for a while. Monster, this guy is definitely a monster. There is no chance of winning against such a monster. Thinking of this, Blackbeard took out the phone bug on his waist without hesitation. This phone bug was brought back from Naval Headquarters by his navigator, Demon Sergeant Lafitte. It is Naval Headquarters' internal phone bug. There is only one number that can be dialed, and that is Naval Headquarters Marshal's office. Although it is not what he wants to use Marine's power at this time, the top priority is to survive, and only then can he achieve supremacy. Da da da. Almost at the same moment as Blackbeard took out the phone, the rhythmic sound of footsteps sounded again, from far to near. But in the phone bug, only the blind tone of, blue, brew, came, and it has not been connected yet. Damn it. Blackbeard scolded his mother in his heart, and cold sweat kept oozing from his palms. Blackbeard, is this all your strength? Lei Luo's voice suddenly came, and it exploded in Blackbeard's ears like a thunderstorm, and the ghost-like figure who wanted his life came one after another. The phone bug was still yelling, blue, Blackbeard's heart sank instantly. Almost at the same time, a bullet from a kilometer away struck silently through the wind. Clang. Chapter 4. Lei Luo's instant killing moment. Ask for evaluation tickets and flowers. Advertisement. Lei Luo stretched out his hand to grasp falsely, and the sound of gold and iron clashing followed. Blackbeard, you are really good at winning people's hearts. Lei Luo spread out his hand. In the palm of his hand was a slightly deformed lead bullet. Sudden. Until then, a faint gunshot came from afar. A bullet appeared, and a faint gunshot was heard about 4 seconds later, and I knew who did it by thinking about it with my toes. Yin Yu Fan Oka, the sniper of the Blackbeard pirates, tried to face the world's #1 sniper Usopp in the original pirate work. You can hit a flying seagull with one shot, even if it's miles away. He is a rare talent, but it is a pity that he followed the wrong master. I just didn't know where to find some of Blackbeard's subordinates, and this guy came to my door. Capture the thief first and capture the king first. No, suppress the bandits first and suppress the soldiers. Lei Luo tossed the lead bullet in his hand, and then threw it backhand. The muscles of Ultimate were tempered to burst out of explosive strength instantly. Where the lead bullet went back to where it came from, it disappeared in an instant. Lei Luo also disappeared from Blackbeard's sight in a flash. Blackbeard let out a long breath. Thank God, the phone bug in his hand finally answered. This is Naval Headquarters, and I am Marshal Sengoku. The other side. FK. How is this possible? This guy caught the bullet. Unarmed. What kind of monster is he? Fan Oka's eyeballs protruded fiercely, almost protruding from the sniper scope. At such a long distance, even a top sniper with absolute prediction ability and precise perception ability can hardly predict the position of the bullet, let alone catch the bullet with bare hands. Is this something humans can do? As strong as Captain Teach, he can't do such an outrageous thing, can he? Crack. As expected of a top sniper, Fan Oka quickly stabilized his mind, loaded the bullet and prepared to refill the gun, but the next moment, Fan Oka's expression froze suddenly. In the sniper scope, a bright light is shooting towards him at an extremely fast speed. Lafitte, get out of the way. Fan Oka let out a loud shout, but it was too late. Puff. Advertisement. The lead bullet sank into the flesh and blood, and the blood mist rose between the lightning and flint. Lafitte was shot in the left arm, relying on Devil Fruit's transformed wings to dissipate in an instant, and the two fell heavily to the ground. Looking at the injured Lafitte, Fan Oka's mind went berserk for a while. What's the matter? The buckshot thrown by that guy with his bare hands could actually penetrate Lafitte's wings. Those are wings transformed with the ability of Devil Fruit. The strength is far higher than that of flesh and blood. This terrifying destructive power is probably not weaker than guns. What's going on? Oka, Lafitte, the ship's Dr. Poison Q, known as Shinigami, suddenly became alert, holding the scythe in his withered hand, and his muddy eyes instantly became sharp. Be careful behind your back. Fan Oka shouted anxiously. Poison Q suddenly felt a chill on his back, turned around instinctively, and a pitch-black fist quickly enlarged under his eyes. Boom. Poison Q, who had just turned around, had no time to respond effectively, and was directly blasted out, hitting a tree trunk not far away. His brain burst, blood gushed out, his cheekbones collapsed, and he was already dead. Doctor. The helmsman Badgers yelled, and in the blink of an eye, the Poison Q was gone. Badgers couldn't accept the cruel reality in front of him at all. In addition to being the helmsman, he is also responsible for protecting Poison Q. After Poison Q is dead, Captain Teach will not let him go. Badgers cursed angrily, and the powerful fighting nerves of the former fighting champion in Demon Valley Town erupted instantly, and he punched out with angry fists, bringing a dull sound of air ringing. Lei Luo reacted faster, covered Armament Haki's fist and punched out quickly. Boom. The touch of two fists is instant. Ah. Badgers. Screams followed, and after only one meeting, his strongest left arm was abolished, 4 finger bones of the 5 fingers were broken, and the back arm bones were forced to shift, penetrating directly from the shoulder blade, blood dripping on the white bones. However, Badger's screams lasted only for a moment, and in the next moment, he shut his mouth forever. Lei Luo punched like lightning, and hit Badger's chest with a punch. The tyrannical penetrating power penetrated Badger's strong body, tearing a big gap in the clothes behind him. The ribs pierced the chest, and Badgers, whose heart was broken, only had time to spit out a mouthful of blood mixed with internal organs. Sudden. The sound of a gunshot suddenly came from behind. Lei Luo turned around instantly, grasping with his left and right hands together, holding 2 lead bullets in his hands at the same time. 1 shot, 2 bullets. This is the special feature of Fan Oka's sniper rifle, Chinlu. Fan Oka, who was hiding in the grass, widened his eyes in surprise, and a sense of inconceivability swept over his body. The scene in front of him completely shattered his self-confidence as a crafty shooter. Advertisement. 1 shot, 2 bullets. This is the tricky spear technique he has been immersed in for many years, and he has never missed it with every shot. Under the cold shot, Even the fire fist ace couldn't dodge, and he shot 2 flaming holes in the center of the eyebrows and the center of the front. But this guy in front of him actually caught 2 of his bullets. You must know that catching and blocking are 2 completely different concepts. This guy's reaction nerves are terrifying, to an inestimable degree. Moreover, at such a short distance, the improved Shinlu sniper rifle, which is more powerful than ordinary anti-material sniper rifles, failed to penetrate his flesh and blood. Is this monster a body made of pig iron? Even a non-moving iron body can't reach this step. No song 3 ding arrow tail slash. The injured demon sheriff Lafitte suddenly made a violent move, and there was a sword hidden in his crutch. No song san ding. West Blue Royal secret swordsmanship, as fast as lightning, as powerful as thunder, the sword rises silently, and the sword falls to frighten ghosts and gods. The moment the sword is sheathed, the power of the slash will erupt like a volcanic eruption. And Lafitte, who was born in West Blue, has already practiced this swordsmanship to the point of proficiency. Go to hell. There was a grin on Lafitte's face, but immediately after that, the grin froze on his face forever. The 2 lead bullets in Lei Luo's hand came out, and in just one breath, there was a whole bubbling blood between Lafitte's eyebrows, and the crutch sword in his hand was still an inch away from its sheath. Lafitte's eyes protruded unrepentantly, his body fell backwards, and there was still a breath in his pierced mind. It's impossible. Fan Aoka in the grass also stared unconcernedly. He never expected that his ending would be to die under his own bullet. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. Lines of text that only he can see popped out in front of Lei Luo's eyes. Open black lens bracket destroy the Blackbeard pirates. Quest progress 4/5. Quest reward. Armed color attribute point +10 close black lens bracket. Armament Haki level. Emission 91/100. You can advance by a hair's breadth. The current armed color level is emission, strong blood, tall body and momentum, so that your breath of life can threaten all life around you. Close black lens bracket. The arduous physical training makes your body extremely strong. Not only do you have a strong fighting instinct, but your muscles are comparable to pig iron, and your bones and tendons are harder than pig iron. Even bullets cannot break through your armed defense. Close black lens bracket. The powerful taijutsu and armament haki achievements flashed in front of Lei Luo. Very good. Lei Luo clenched his black fists, which became more and more indestructible, as if he could blow up a mountain with one punch. At the beginning, he chose the infinite evolution weapon color instead of eating some fruit, and he made the right choice. With a sly smile, he stared fiercely at Blackbeard who was struggling in the distance. Chapter 5. The Bottomless Armament Haki. Ask for flower evaluation votes. Advertisement. The other side of Boeing Island, the coastline. Blackbeard struggled to move his fat body, the back of his neck was broken, half of his body was completely numb, and there were constant pains from his still conscious body. The most terrible thing is that under the influence of dark fruit, your own pain, damage, etc. will be magnified 3 times. At this moment, Blackbeard is extremely envious of those Logia demon fruit powers that can transform their bodies into elements. The only thing to be thankful for is that his loyal subordinates played a role at the critical moment. And Marine has sent people over. Thief haha. The news that the evil blood of One Piece Roger still exists in the world is enough to cause an uproar within the Marine. No, it should be said that it is enough to cause an uproar in the entire world government. Such a big news, even Whitebeard's father is very tight, dare not say anything. When he learned that Ace was Roger's orphan, he was shocked. Telling this news to Marine will at least alert the existence of Admiral level. As long as they can survive until the arrival of Marine, and then win the sinful bloodline of Ace, they can still win the position of 7 warlords of the sea, and the follow-up plan can continue logically. As for the lost subordinates, they are just belongings, just recruit them later. As long as he is still alive, he will definitely be able to make a comeback. Boom. Suddenly, a figure descended from the sky, and the powerful momentum of the landing splashed flying sand all over the sky. The black suit on Lei Luo's body is straight, and the handmade white paper pinned on his chest is so white that it oozes people, and his whole body exudes the momentum of a hungry wolf. Just standing there gives people a feeling of fright. Compared with the previous lazy appearance, he is a completely different person. Blackbeard's heart sank. Damn it, how could it be so fast? Advertisement. Good at fast swords, there are Devil Fruit who assists Lafayette, Vanoka who is good at precise sniping and rapid fire, and Badgers with a strong physique. None of his subordinates are weak. I thought they could hold Lei Luo for a while, but in less than a minute, let Lei Luo be completely wiped out. Dark Cave Road. Blackbeard made a decisive decision and slapped the ground with one hand. The black mist all over his body surged out. If he didn't fight hard at this time, he would have no chance. At the juncture of life and death, Blackbeard's full potential was stimulated to ultimate, and the dark mist covered the ground, spreading and spreading at an extremely fast speed, until it approached Lei Luo. Lei Luo's physical skills are very strong, and the domineering armament haki is even stronger. But whether it is taijutsu or armament haki, you must be close to exert their power. As long as the distance between the two is opened, Lei Luo will not dare to act rashly, and it will be safe for the time being. However, the next second, Blackbeard's face froze. He clearly saw a mocking smile on the corner of Lei Luo's mouth, and that disdainful look, as if the old wolf was sizing up the rabbit that had been injured all the time, which made his heart shudder. Lei Luo looked at Blackbeard, and covered the ground with the dark mist generated by dark fruit to distance himself. Innocent. Lei Luo's breathing pattern changed slightly, and there seemed to be a clear sound of swords clashing in the chang somewhere. In the blink of an eye, Lei Luo's whole body was covered by the dark armament Haki. Blackbeard's eyes widened in disbelief. Armed color full body coverage. How is this possible? This guy is only in his early 20s, how could he master such advanced armament Haki? As a physical master, Blackbeard knows how difficult it is to temper armament Haki. How can a kid in his early 20s do armament Haki full coverage? This is simply unscientific. Contrary to common sense, illogical. Lei Luo instantly completed the full coverage of armed colors, stomped his waist, stomped the ground, and the flesh and blood tempered to the ultimate blatantly exerted force. He came to Blackbeard with a dodge, and his pitch-black fist vibrated the air flow, making a thunderous dull sound, and blatantly blasted out. Blackbeard's expression froze, and he clenched his fist. Armament Haki instantly covered his entire arm, and the dark mist generated by dark fruit lingered on his arm, making it even more weird. Advertisement. Armed color. I don't believe you are stronger than me. Blackbeard roared with a distorted face. Armament Haki and the fists wrapped in dark mist double-blessed punched Lei Luo's fist. Even though this guy Lei Luo's weapons are terrifying, but he thinks he won't lose to anyone. How many years has he practiced? It's only in the early 10 years when it's full. And his Blackbeard constitution is special, he doesn't need to sleep, he has been lurking in the Whitebeard pirates for more than 20 years, and he has been practicing hard every night. Armament Haki, which has been polished for more than 20 years, and with the blessing of the power of darkness, there is no reason to lose to a yellow-haired boy. Go to hell Lei Luo. Clang. When the two fists collided, the sound was like metal and iron clashing. It didn't look like two fists with flesh and blood fighting each other, but like two rough metal stones colliding. Two punches collide, one touch is instant. Blackbeard stepped back a dozen steps, half kneeling down, his complexion visibly changed, drips of cold sweat kept oozing out. How so? The fist blessed by Armament Haki and the dark mist did not gain the upper hand in the collision just now. Not only did he not gain the upper hand, but he was also faintly at a disadvantage. Although Armament Haki restrains Logia demon fruit power to a certain extent, dark fruit is a different kind among Logia devil fruit. Not even a master of Grandmaster Armament Haki is completely immune to the dark gravity and crushing effects generated by dark fruit. However, just now, the dark gravity and crushing effect generated by dark fruit didn't work at all, and was restrained by Lei Luo's Armament Haki. This nasty guy, is he a monster? The tyrannical Armament Haki is simply bottomless. Chapter 6. A more advanced weapon color than Emission. Ask for flower evaluation votes. Advertisement. Repelling Blackbeard with one punch, Lei Luo clenched his fist again, his whole body suddenly raised his momentum, the air mechanism in his body circulated, and the majestic Armament Haki was urged to ultimate. Stepping closer, the pitch-black fist rubbed against the air, making a quick and dull sound. The fist sounded like thunder, and the punch was like electricity. Originally, he was still interested in dark fruit in Legendary, but after 2 fights, hey, dark fruit is just mediocre. That's it for the end. The lightning punch hit Blackbeard in the blink of an eye. Blackbeard's complexion changed drastically. He had already been beaten to half use by Lei Luo, and the frontal collision just now had almost exhausted all his strength. Such a swift punch can't be avoided. Armed color coverage. After all, Blackbeard is an old pirate who has been on the sea for many years. In terms of experience, he is much better than those so-called new pirate stars. His eyes swept over Lei Luo's arms and elbows, and he could judge the trajectory of Lei Luo's punches at a glance. This punch was aimed at his chest. If he hit him in his current state, he would die. Almost instinctively, Blackbeard mobilized the Armament Haki all over his body, condensing all of them to his chest. Having been immersed in Armament Haki for many years, he knows very well that Armament Haki condensed in one point is the strongest, and it cannot be shaken by Armament Haki with full coverage. Between lightning and flint, clang. The sound of gold and iron clashing sounded. Lei Luo's fist landed on Blackbeard's chest, but it was difficult to penetrate half a point. Thief, ha ha ha. The Blackbeard thief laughed, ha ha. The black mist in his hand quickly condensed, and at the same time preached. Many people think that Armament Haki with full coverage is better than Armament Haki with partial coverage. But, Armament Haki is the strongest if he condenses a little. The lower the density, the higher the hardness. Unfortunately, many idiots don't understand this principle, and you, Lei Luo, are the same idiot. Go to hell and be a smart person in your next life. As the voice fell, Blackbeard's fist wrapped in dark mist also fell, pointing directly at Lei Luo's head. This punch exploded him. However, in the next instant, the weird smile on Blackbeard's face suddenly froze, and the fist that fell from top to bottom also stopped in midair. Advertisement. A pair of small eyes bulged outward fiercely, looking down at his chest. There was heart-piercing colic, and breathing gradually became difficult. How come? It was clearly prevented. On the surface, there is no injury, but the inside has already been destroyed. Could it be? Blackbeard suddenly thought of something, but the idea had just been born before he was choked off by himself. Impossible. No way. That is the pinnacle of Armament Haki. He has been immersed in Armament Haki for more than 20 years and has not been able to master it. How can a kid who has practiced Haki for at least 10 years be able to master it? Vomit. A mouthful of inverse blood mixed with internal organs spewed out uncontrollably, gurgling continuously, and soon dyed the black hair on Blackbeard's chest red. Blackbeard gradually stooped, staring at Lei Luo with fiery eyes but helpless, and struggled to utter 2 words from his throat. Flow. Sakura. There was a sneer on the corner of Lei Luo's mouth. What do you think? Blackbeard closed his eyes, and there was a very ugly wry smile at the corner of his blood-stained mouth. It really is Emission Haki. No matter how much you don't want to believe it, the truth is right in front of you. Armament Haki's supreme state penetrates instantly, causing absolute power to destroy from the inside out. This guy's Armament Haki has reached this level. In my impression, the only people who have mastered this power are Marines Garp the Fist and the living legendary, Pluton, Rayleigh. Each of them is a peerless powerhouse who can easily defeat a capable person with bare hands. This guy Lei Luo is already on the same level as these legendary level powerhouses. But why? He is just a brat who has practiced Armament Haki for 10 years at best. How can he master this supreme absolute power? That's a power that even Whitebeard, known as the world's strongest man, can't master. Advertisement. God is not fair. What an injustice to him, Blackbeard. Plop. Blackbeard's body fell heavily to the ground, and his vitality quickly disappeared. Lines of text also appeared in front of Lei Luo's eyes. Open black lens bracket ding. Close black lens bracket. The group destroys the Blackbeard pirates. The mission progress is 5/5. Congratulations to host for getting the mission reward. Armed color attribute point +10. With a thought, Lei Luo called out the system interface. Name. Lei Luo. Age. 24. Strength. Quasi-Admiral. Armament Haki level. Emission 91/100. You're just a hair away from advancing. Attribute point balance. 10. Tasks. None. Great. Lei Luo's eyes scanned the rows of data, and his eyes were full of fire. With a thought, he used up all 10 attribute points. Come on, Armament Haki of a higher level than Emission. The data in the Armament Haki level column flickered for a while, and Lei Luo felt a burst of heat all over his body, as if every cell in his body was releasing heat energy. The muscles are stretching, the bones are becoming stronger, the meridians are becoming stronger, the 60 trillion cells in the whole body are becoming extremely active, and the breath is rising at a speed visible to the naked eye. Cool. This long-lost feeling of becoming stronger is really comfortable. Crack. Suddenly, there seemed to be a broken sound in his body, and Lei Luo's expression froze, which meant that the shackles in the dark were finally broken. Chapter 7. Armament Haki like never before. Ask for evaluation tickets and flowers. Advertisement. Lei Luo clenched a fist with one hand, and with just one clenched fist, the power stored in every inch of muscle surged up, ready to come out. The muscles on the arm suddenly tightened, and there was a slight tremor in the surrounding air. Is this the power beyond Emission Haki? Lei Luo's eyes fell on the vast sea, and he took a long breath to let his mind and body empty. His breathing pattern changed slightly, and all the cells in his body became active, releasing his strength. Withdraw your arms, accumulate strength, punch, and swing your fists to the sea. Boom. The shiny black fist swung out violently, the face of the fist hit the air, and the air shook violently, making a huge sound like thunder and cracking. There was no wind and waves above the sea, and the waves splashed tens of feet high, and the red sun in the sky was blocked by the surging waves rising to the sky. For a moment, the sea water crashed down, like a downpour. The corner of Lei Luo's mouth curved up. Compared with the past, Haki is more than 10 times stronger, and one punch can shake the air and even cause waves. If he had been able to display such power in the previous battle against Blackbeard, he might have been able to directly blast this black pig into a puddle of meat. The most important thing is that his Haki can be advanced infinitely, and if it continues to be advanced and strengthened, it will surpass the world's #1 armed color Garp the Fist just around the corner. It's not a bad idea to compare the shock fruit of Brother Whitebeard with flesh and blood. The strongest in the world, the future can be expected. Turning his eyes, he landed on the system interface, and the system interface changed for a while. Name. Lei Luo. Age. 24. Strength. Admiral Early. Armament Haki level. Absolute defense 1/1000th. The new realm has just begun. Work hard to reach your ultimate. Attribute point balance. 0. Tasks. None. Lei Luo focused his thoughts on the column, Armament Haki level, and 2 lines of small words suddenly appeared. Current armor color level. Absolute defense. Close to ultimate strong blood, tall body and domineering aura. Let your breath of life threaten all life around you. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Open black lens bracket. Your fit with Armament Haki is close to perfect. Once you encounter a crisis, the powerful armed defense will automatically trigger the Guardian, forming an absolute defense that cannot be broken through. Close black lens bracket. Looking at the rows of data in front of him, Lei Luo was satisfied. This is Admiral level strength. It seems that choosing to abandon everything and focus on Armament Haki was indeed a wise choice. Only by concentrating on one point can you reach the peak. This is indeed true. And Haki Guardian. Absolute defense. I thought it was just that Haki's attack power had increased, but I didn't expect that there was an absolute defense buff. Lei Luo couldn't help but think of the sand waterfall Gara in Hokage, the absolute defense that protects the Lord by itself and is invincible. With this power, the world is as big as it is, let me be free. Reaching out and pinching Blackbeard's collar, he dragged it along like a dead dog. This is one of the procedures for clearing the treason, corpse recovery. All the way to the scorched earth ruins of the battle between Ace and Blackbeard, Lei Luo glanced at Ace. I have to say that the recovery ability of Logia Demon Fruit power is really strong. As long as you don't encounter Seastone, you don't encounter step restraint. No matter how serious the injury is, he can recover in a short time. Although Ace is still in a coma, his breathing has become much smoother. The reason why he has not woken up is due to excessive physical exertion. Wake up. Lei Luo kicked Ace, and under external stimulation, Ace faintly woke up. The blurred field of vision gradually became clear, and what came into view was a figure in a well-fitting suit, and the handmade white paper flowers on his chest were particularly eye-catching. Who? Ace became alert in an instant, his arms turned into flames, and carefully looked at the young man in a suit in front of him. The aura of this person is very strong, even if he just stands there, the tyrannical aura emanating from his body is overwhelming. Ace cleared his mind and put away the flames consciously. If such a tyrannical existence were to harm him, he had no room to resist at all. Reckless vigilance will only put him in a more unfavorable situation. May I ask? Just halfway through speaking, Ace suddenly caught a glimpse of the Blackbeard in Lei Luo's hand, and his eyes widened instantly. Blackbeard is dead. Advertisement. The air mechanism is cut off, as if he is already dead. Incredible. How could Blackbeard, who was a big pirate with a bounty of 550 million yuan, be rubbed against the ground so easily that he died like this? Who did it? And, what about Blackbeard's minions? All kinds of thoughts flashed through his mind. Ace accidentally caught a glimpse of the huge wound on Blackbeard's chest, and couldn't help but gasp for cold air. A punch through the chest. What a domineering attack. Judging from the previous fight with Blackbeard, this guy is strong enough to beat any captain of the Whitebeard pirates. Even the Phoenix Marco and the most resistant Diamond Josie can't beat him. Looking at the entire Whitebeard pirate group, the only one who can suppress Blackbeard is Dad. When he looked at Lei Luo again, Ace already had an imperceptible fear in his eyes. This person is probably the one who killed Blackbeard, and being able to kill Blackbeard shows that the other party is strong enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with Dad. But this person looks about the same age as me. May I ask who you are? Ace, who came back to his senses, used an honorific. Lei Luo. Lei Luo. Ace's pupils trembled, his breathing became short of breath, and he unconsciously connected the young man in front of him of his age with that mysterious figure. Immediately I laughed in my heart. I am really crazy. There are so many people named Lei Luo in this sea, how can there be such a coincidence? And the deputy captain is the brother of the old man, he should be a respected and loyal elder like the old man. How could it be a young man of his own age? It doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. Chapter 8. Lazy Justice, Admiral Aokiji. Ask for flower evaluation votes. Advertisement. Ace subconsciously denied. But then I thought about it, a person who happened to have the same name as the vice captain, happened to appear on Boeing Island, and happened to shoot and kill Blackbeard. How could there be such a coincidence? The opponent obviously came for Blackbeard, otherwise he would have no reason to deal with Blackbeard, a troublesome guy. At this moment, no matter how dull Ace was, he realized that the Lei Luo in front of him was the mysterious vice captain Lei Luo. Ace's breathing was faintly rapid, and he obviously lacked confidence and said, Deputy Captain. Lei Luo nodded. Ace unconsciously took a deep breath of the cold air. It was really Vice Captain Lei Luo. So young, so strong. It's completely different from the vice captain I imagined. I thought the deputy captain would be a loyal elder like my father, but I didn't expect that he was so young. He looked a few years older than me, right? At a young age, his strength is similar to that of his father. You must know that Dad is the strongest man in the world. In this way, the deputy captain must be the strongest young man in the world. Suddenly, Lei Luo turned his head sharply, looking at the grove in the distance with burning eyes. There, filled with a palpitating inexplicable chill. What's wrong, Captain? Ace asked. Although he was a little puzzled, Ace's gaze followed Lei Luo subconsciously, and suddenly, a tingling chill spread over his skin from nowhere. Is it an illusion? He is a flame man who ate Mara fruit, and he is much more sensitive to temperature changes than ordinary people. While he was wondering, a figure slowly walked out of the small woods in the distance. Someone. Ace was obviously taken aback, so the deputy captain turned his head when he noticed someone nearby. Such a keen perception ability, he is worthy of being the man named the deputy captain by the father. It can be perceived from such a long distance. Is this observation haki? Ace looked at Lei Luo with admiration, but more envy. Observation haki. Advertisement. The power he has always wanted but has never been able to acquire. They are also young people in their early 20s, why is there such a big gap? In fact, abandoning everything else, Lei Luo, who specializes in armament haki, knows nothing about observation haki. Being able to detect the arrival of the uninvited guest in advance is only because of the tyrannical fighting intuition and the instinctive perception of danger by creatures. Armament haki is a special power derived from developing the body to ultimate. Danger perception is part of the human biological ability. Having mastered armament haki at a higher level than Emission, Lei Luo, whose body is infinitely close to ultimate, is naturally much better than ordinary people in terms of danger perception. People approaching gradually. He was wearing a white suit, lined with the same white vest and a dark blue shirt. His height of nearly 3 meters was very oppressive, his skin was dark, his face was as resolute as a knife, and his fluffy curly hair drooped naturally. The air becomes faintly humid. Obviously, he was the source of that chill. What a scary guy. Ace's heart tightened slightly. The cold aura emanating from this person actually stings his skin, it's outrageous. You know, he is hot. What disturbed Ace the most was that the aura of this newcomer was faintly stronger than that of Vice Captain Lei Luo. Stronger than the deputy captain, isn't it as powerful as the old man? And this face is inexplicably familiar. Wait, the cloak he's wearing is Marine's official cloak with gold's epaulets. Goo. Ace swallowed his saliva unconsciously. In Marine, the one who is eligible to wear a cloak is at least the Vice Admiral rank, and the one who can wear the gold epaulets on top of the cloak is Admiral. Marine Admiral is icy cold. Logia frozen fruit ability user. Aokiji Kuzan. There was a faint layer of cold sweat on Ace's forehead. Damn it, why did Marine Admiral suddenly appear here? After a short shock, Ace quickly regained his composure and gritted his teeth. And what about Admiral? Vice Captain Lei Luo is here, plus his own Mera fruit attribute restraint. Admiral might not be able to fight. Ace's eyes gradually became firm. Advertisement. In just a few breaths, Aokiji approached, stood still, and his eyes fell on Lei Luo. This young man is very strong. The breathing is long, vaguely similar to Mr. Garp. He should be a master of physical skills. Breath strength is FK Admiral. A faint shock flashed in Aokiji's eyes. Have all the newcomers of the younger generation grown to this level? Blackbeard killed him. When I just came here by bike, the vision of the surging sea was probably also created by this guy. If he is the evil blood of the One Piece Roger that Admiral Sengoku said. I believe it. With him as Fire Fist Ace. The guy who rejected the invitation letter from 7 warlords of the sea and became the captain of the second team of the Whitebeard pirates with a bounty of 550 million. Another troublesome guy Ah la la la. Sakazuki should be sent out for such a troublesome mission. Aokiji pointed to the Blackbeard in Lei Luo's hand, and then a magnetic baritone sounded. Excuse me, can you give me the man in your hand? Stop dreaming, Marine. Ace roared. A ball of extremely high temperature flames shot out from his hand, and at the same time stepped forward, blocking Lei Luo, as if he was going to be a pawn. Aokiji picked out his ears, obviously taking the ace in front of him as heir, and said directly to Lei Luo, this pirate has a lot to do, and I think you are also good. If you hand him over to Marine, I promise you that you will be back after Admiral. Title. The corner of Lei Luo's mouth curved into a cold arc. Rear Admiral. Marine Admiral Aokiji, you really have a big tone. But if you want to take my loot, I'm afraid you are not qualified, Aokiji. Lei Luo's tone was very blunt. The most extreme armed color represented the most powerful courage. No matter whether it was the Marshal or Admiral, he was not afraid of any challenge. Aokiji's lazy face suddenly turned cold when he heard the words, and the biting cold surged. It seems that words don't make sense. I can only invite the two of you to Naval Headquarters. Before the voice fell, a line of text that only he could see popped up in front of Lei Luo's eyes. Mission tip. Repel Marine Admiral Aokiji, reward attribute points plus 40 attribute points. Very good. There was a gleam in Lei Luo's eyes, as expected of Admiral who developed the fruit ability to ultimate. Chapter 9. Admiral Aokiji is extremely powerful, ask for comments and flowers. Advertisement. It is indeed the Marine Admiral who has developed the fruit ability to the ultimate, the benchmark of Marine's top combat power. Great value to beat. Lei Luo's eyes were full of fighting spirit, but Aokiji who was not far away suddenly shot violently. Shave. Aokiji stomped his foot on the ground, turned into a black shadow and disappeared in front of Lei Luo's eyes. Almost at the same time, a biting chill came from behind. Shaved, one of the Marine 6 styles, is one of the symbols of the pinnacle of martial arts, which uses strong reverse thrust to achieve instant explosive acceleration by continuously stepping on the ground within 0.1 seconds. If you practice this move to the peak, the speed will be as fast as instant displacement. Freezing moment. Aokiji, who circled behind the two, turned his hands into ice cubes, and grabbed Lei Luo and Ace at an extremely fast speed. The so-called freezing moment is to freeze the target into an ice sculpture with the absolute cold released instantly. At this time, with just a light punch, the target will be shattered along with the ice sculpture and turned into powder. However, the next moment. Boom. Lei Luo turned around sharply, whipped his legs like lightning, and kicked out forcefully with a gust of dull wind. In just a moment, Admiral Aokiji was torn apart and turned into a puddle of broken ice. Let's avoid this level of temptation. Aokiji. Lei Luo said calmly. Ace didn't come back to his senses until now. The cold air just came too suddenly. Although he felt it, he couldn't respond effectively at all, and he didn't even have time to turn his body into flames. Looking at the broken ice on the ground, although Ace didn't know exactly what happened at that moment, he vaguely knew that the deputy captain saved his life again. The shattered ice all over the ground converged into a human form, and in the blink of an eye, Aokiji, resurrected from the dead, looking at Lei Luo with a touch of fear and caution. This guy is stronger than expected. That kick just now didn't entangle Haki, that is to say, he smashed his elemental body with pure physical strength. If this kind of strength is placed in the Marine camp, it will not only be a Rear Admiral title. Advertisement. Outstanding new generation, why are you all in the pirate camp? It's a pity, if he is really Roger's evil blood, even if he activates Buster Call, he must be erased from this world. Aokiji yawned, and a lazy voice sounded. Ah la la la, don't say that, I am serious about fighting. Before the words fell, 2 ice spears pierced out as fast as a gust of wind, 2 thorny spears of ice. Stop being arrogant, Marine. Yang Yan. Ace let out a roar, his arm turned into flames, and the pillar of fire shot out crushed the ice spear. With one hit, Ace has some confidence in his heart. Marine Admiral seems not as strong as rumored. Marine, I will defeat you. Ace stretched out his index fingers with both hands, crossed them in front of him, and shot across aiming light onto Aokiji's chest, crossfire. At the moment of aiming, a highly compressed and extremely hot pillar of crossfire shoots out. Once the crossfire is aimed, it is an unavoidable special attack. Boom. The flame fell on Aokiji's body, and when the flame met the ice, a puff of water mist and white smoke suddenly rose. Aokiji fanned the smoke away with his hands. The cross-shaped wound on his chest was being filled and repaired by the cold air. Well, amazing power. The harmless and extremely insulting words fell into his ears, and Ace's face turned pale. Originally, he wanted to show his face in front of the deputy captain, but now it's a little slapped in the face. Stop looking down on people, Marine. Out of breath, Ace burst out with flames. Circles of thread-shaped flames spread out around Ace, and the bright red flames quickly condensed in the palm of his hand, and the temperature of the flames rose rapidly. In just a few breaths, the bright red great fireball emitted a burst of blazing light, and the surrounding space was scorched to the point of ripples, ready to charge. Great Flame Precept Emperor Yan. After being deflated again and again, Ace directly took out the strongest move, and a huge blazing fireball hit Aokiji. Where the fireball passed, the air was distorted and blurred. Aokiji helplessly supported his forehead. Really, don't use this kind of move that causes large-scale damage lightly, it will be very troublesome. Seeing the fireball getting closer and closer, Aokiji raised his arm and turned it into ice, and the surrounding air also dropped rapidly, breaking through zero. Advertisement. The ultra-low temperature quickly condensed between Aokiji's fingers, as if turning into an invisible cold needle, freezing the time capsule. Aokiji popped out a highly compressed cold air bullet, and the cold air quickly gathered towards the white fireball. The cold air is invisible, but the air where it passes is frozen into ice. Between the lightning and the flint, the cold air bullet collided with the white fireball. This was a silent collision without a trace of sound. However, in the next moment, Ace's eyes widened suddenly, and his heart tightened suddenly, as if he was being grabbed by a pair of invisible hands. Crack. Following this extremely subtle sound, the fireball in midair suddenly solidified, turning into a huge ice ball in an instant. The flames are frozen. How is this possible? Even if he saw it with his own eyes, Ace couldn't believe the scene in front of him at all. Can ice freeze fire? This is simply bizarre. No, it should be outrageous. Fix the troubles you caused yourself, Fire Fist Ace. Aokiji's lazy voice sounded. Strange to say, the huge hockey puck in midair seemed to understand Aokiji's words. As soon as the words fell, it fell in the direction of Ace and Lei Luo. Ace's face turned pale. Emperor Yan has just been released, and he is now in a weak state of exhaustion. Even if he wants to melt the puck with flames, he will not be able to release the fire at all. Damn it, is Marine Admiral really that strong? Chapter 10. Overbearing, Lei Luo's powerful punch. Ask for flower evaluation votes. Advertisement. Damn, there is no way to condense the flames. Looking at the huge ice puck that fell on his head, drops of cold sweat fell on Ace's forehead. I thought that even if I couldn't beat Aokiji with the strongest moves, I could at least force him back. Who would have thought that this guy would be perverted to such an extent, instantly freezing his Emperor Yan into ice? Defeated without any suspense. Marine Admiral, the development of the fruit is really terrifying. I'm afraid it's not much worse than my father. Ace gritted his teeth, his expression extremely ugly. All kinds of thoughts flashed in Ace's mind, and suddenly, a tyrannical aura erupted without warning. Ace only felt his heart pounding, and he suddenly felt out of breath. What happened? Such a tyrannical coercion, like a vast sea covering one's body, and mountains pressing down on the top, it is so shocking that people can't breathe. Ace was shocked, and subconsciously searched for the source of the coercion. His eyes fell on Lei Luo beside him. Lei Luo was staring at the ice puck falling rapidly in midair. Deputy Captain. Was this tyrannical coercion issued by the Vice Captain? So strong. He has only seen such a powerful aura coercion on two people, one is his father Whitebeard, and the other is the old man Garp. Is the Deputy Captain strong enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with these two legendaries? Moreover, this is just the residual power of the breath, if it is directly targeted by this coercion. Ace can't imagine what a terrible feeling it will be. Stand back. Lei Luo's voice sounded, and he clenched his fist at the same time. The power stored in every inch of muscle surged instantly, and the muscles on his arms suddenly tightened. Boom. There was a slight tremor in the surrounding air. Ace swallowed unconsciously. Could the air tremble just by making a fist? Advertisement. It's just like Papa's shock fruit. Is the Vice Captain also a person with the same type of ability? Or, did he reach this level purely by physical strength? If it is the latter, it would be too pervert, too scary. How strong does it take to shake the air like a shock fruit with a fist? Clang. There was a subtle sound like a sword rubbing, and Lei Luo's right arm instantly turned black, as if it had been coated with a shiny black film. Armament Haki. Looking at Lei Luo's pitch-black arm, Ace stared blankly. The pitch-black Armament Haki. There is a very intuitive way to judge the strength of a person's Armament Haki, that is, the darker the purer. Beginners' Armament Haki are mostly blue-gray, iron-gray. At the full body coverage level, Armament Haki will turn into red in black, or purple in black. The pure black represents the ultimate purity without impurities, ultimate Armament Haki. No wonder it is so strong. It turns out that the Deputy Captain has tempered Armament Haki to this point. Aokiji not far away is also frowning, instantly using such a pure Armament Haki cover. Does he not need energy? In terms of the purity of Armament Haki alone, this kid has already surpassed most Marines, at least someone above Admiral level can hold him steady. Most importantly, he looks to be in his 20s. Armament Haki has been tempered to this level in his 20s, and his future prospects may be limitless. Shouldn't it be the blood of the pirate King Roger? Aokiji murmured and became more and more sure that the Lei Luo in front of him was Roger's criminal blood that Marshal Sengoku said was suspected. Only a peerless hero like One Piece can give birth to such a powerful son. But the son of One Piece Roger seems to be getting involved with the Whitebeard pirates. It's getting more and more troublesome. Advertisement. The huge ice ball was falling faster and faster, and even set off a strong wind pressure that made people unable to straighten their backs, and it was about to hit the head. At the very moment, Lei Luo seemed to have pinpointed the point, and punched brazenly, and invisible energy surged out. Boom. The black-plated fist rubbed against the air, causing a thunderous sound. Boom. Immediately afterwards, a muffled sound came. The rapidly falling ice puck froze in midair as if the pause button had been pressed. Kacha. A crack appeared on the puck. Kachacha. Followed by the second and third articles. More and more fine cracks emerged, spreading like a spider web. 1 breath. 2 breaths. Boom. The huge ice ball shattered. No, it was not so much broken as it exploded from the core in the middle. The fine pieces of ice spread in all directions, turning into mist, rain, and invisible. Ace's eyes bulged out fiercely, his big jaw almost fell to the ground, and he stammered. Broken, broken, so broken that there is not even a scum. A hockey ball that big enough to cover half of Banaro Island. It shattered in one punch. Is this the true strength of the deputy captain? Damn, this is so handsome. For a moment, Ace was at a loss for words, and there was nothing but admiration in Lei Luo's eyes. Unrivaled and powerful. If Dad is the soul of the Whitebeard pirates, then the deputy captain is the benchmark of the Whitebeard pirates, the one that is fascinating but unsurpassable. The laziness between Aokiji's eyebrows disappeared completely, replaced by incomparable seriousness. He clenched his fist tightly, squeezed out 2 words from between his teeth. Flow. Sakura. Chapter 11. Aokiji is confused. How can the armed color play like this? Ask for evaluation tickets and flowers. Advertisement. MK Sports. Zhongjin Zhengjia, Teiyu Zhongli, Rang Nin Jing Kai Kai Chi Shinda Yin Yen, Zui Gao KT Xian 36 Wan, Wu Shu Kun Quan. Lejia Zheng Duo Shang Qing. Aokiji saw from the very beginning that this guy had extremely high attainments in Armament Haki, but he didn't expect the other party's attainments to be so ridiculously high. Did you even master Emission? As we all know, Armament Haki is divided into 4 levels. Armament Haki, partial coverage, full body coverage and Emission Haki. The so-called Emission refers to the flowing Haki, which can not only transform into invisible armor with super strong defense. It can also drive the flowing Haki into the opponent's body during the battle, forming an explosive destruction from the inside out. It is no exaggeration to say that mastering Emission Haki is as difficult as heaven. Whether it is armed color winding, partial coverage or full body coverage, there is one thing in common, that is to condense Haki on a certain point of the body and keep it still. The core of Emission is just the opposite, not only to let the armament Haki that should remain static flow, but also to ensure the strength that Haki should have. It must be streamlined and not scattered before it can be called Emission. Therefore, there are many people who have mastered the full body coverage of armed colors in this sea, but those who have mastered Emission are very few. Even the 3 admirals known as the Marine Combat Power Ceiling can only reach the level of full body coverage in Armament Haki. In other words, this guy who is suspected to be of Roger's sinful bloodline has surpassed the 3 admirals in terms of Armament Haki. The only ones who can suppress him are Mr. Garp and Marshal Sengoku. Marshal Sengoku really sent him a tricky mission. Is it revenge for not carrying out the mission to protect the celestial dragons last time? This idea flashed in my mind, but Aokiji became more serious than ever. What he is facing is a peerless master who has mastered Emission Haki, and there is no room for carelessness. Oh, I've said it all, don't make useless temptations. Finally getting serious. Admiral Aokiji. Seeing the lazy Aokiji finally put away, Lei Luo's eyes showed a fierce fighting spirit. He threw Blackbeard's body to Ace, and said, let's go. With Ace in the way here, he doesn't enjoy the fight and doesn't want to be distracted. Advertisement. Ace grabbed Blackbeard's body, but his expression was a little numb, and he kept thinking about Lei Luo's words in his ears. Finally getting serious. Single quote. In other words, Aokiji didn't use his full strength when fighting him. That huge ice ball that can cover half of Banaro Island is just for fun. Ace only felt a suffocating breath in his chest. He thought that he was so strong that he could run around the Grand Line with a bounty of 550 million. However, it wasn't until today that he suddenly realized that in the eyes of a real strong man, he was no different from an ant. Go away. Seeing that Ace has not moved for a long time, Lei Luo scolded. Ace shuddered and came back to his senses. He picked up Blackbeard's body without hesitation, and his feet turned into flames soaring into the sky. Boost your speed with flame jets, an ability Ace mastered when he first got the Mera Mera fruit. I'm not letting you go, Fire Fist Ace. Frozen time capsule. The cold air with extremely low temperature quickly condensed between Aokiji's fingers, and before he breathed, the cold air projectile had already condensed into shape. With a flick of Aokiji's fingers, the highly compressed cold air shot out, and the air froze wherever it passed. Seeing this scene, Ace couldn't help being stunned. The same move, but the cohesion speed was several times faster than before. It can be seen that Aokiji was really just playing for fun before. Seeing that the cold air bullet was about to hit, a black shadow that was too fast to see clearly lay between Ace and the cold air bullet. It's Lei Luo. Withdrawing arms, accumulating strength, and swinging fists, the fist wrapped in the ultimate armed color simply and powerfully blasts out. Boom. The wind of the fist shakes the air, and the sound is like a muffled thunder exploding into the sky. The highly compressed cold air collapsed in an instant. Aokiji stared fiercely. How could that be? Advertisement. This guy actually smashed the frozen time capsule. Emission level armament haki is so terrifying. The essence of the frozen time capsule is highly compressed pure cold air. Once squeezed by external force, the cold air will explode instantly, freezing everything around. Even to freeze a titan as tall as a mountain like Saul, it only takes 2 breaths of time. The highly compressed cold air will be smashed by a punch. Such a picture has never been seen in Aokiji's impression. In fact, Lei Luo is also cursing in his heart at this moment, as expected of Admiral Aokiji, a figure at the ceiling level of marine combat power, who has such terrifying power just by ejecting a highly compressed cold air. Although the punch just now shattered the cold air bullet, but the right hand was also affected by the extremely cold air. The ring finger and middle finger were numb and stiff for a while, and they almost lost consciousness, and the circulation of breath in the whole arm became blocked. If you fail to advance to Armament Haki before Aokiji arrives, you will probably freeze your blood if you suffer this attack. Marine Admiral. Really challenging. Lei Luo fell back to the ground and sneered at Aokiji. Aokiji also saw the abnormality of Lei Luo's right phalanx, and he felt relieved. Let me just say that the relationship between Logia's ability and Armament Haki's restraint is relative. No matter how strong this guy's armed color is, it's impossible not to be affected at all. Aokiji yawned, faintly showing signs of returning to a lazy state. Are you sure you want to continue fighting? If your blood is blocked, your breath will not flow smoothly. You can no longer exert your full strength. Lei Luo sneered. As expected of Marine Admiral, what you said hit the nail on the head. But it's not important. Before he finished speaking, Lei Luo flicked his arm violently, the blood circulation accelerated, breaking through the block in an instant, and the circulation of breath returned to normal. Aokiji just felt his head buzzing. What the hell? What did I just see? Can Armament Haki still play like this? Book reading FU Chapter 12. The Scary Frozen Fruit Ability. Ask for flower evaluation. Advertisement. Aokiji stared, his face completely darkened. How is this possible? He understands the principle of speeding up the blood flow by shaking hands. However, people cannot exercise vigorously when their limbs are partially frozen, because the instantaneously accelerated blood flow will burst the blood vessels. But this guy not only didn't burst his blood vessels by the instantaneously accelerated blood, on the contrary, he easily activated the collaterals and dredged the meridians, making the flow of chi and blood return to normal. This completely violates the common sense of biology, and it doesn't make sense at all. What is the structure of this guy's body? In fact, Lei Luo's body doesn't have any special structure. If I insist, the Armament Haki refined to Ultimate has brought qualitative changes to the body. Armament Haki is a special power derived from tempering one's own blood and flesh to Ultimate. The higher the level of Armament Haki, the stronger your bones, meridians, blood vessels, muscles, sense organs, etc. will become. As the body becomes stronger, the ability to withstand it will naturally become stronger. Aokiji quickly suppressed the shock in his heart, but his expression was unprecedentedly dignified. This guy's strength far exceeded his expectations, and he was very difficult to deal with. With him standing here, it is impossible to continue chasing Fire Fist Ace. Then he can only be brought back to Naval Headquarters, otherwise Marshal Sengoku has no way to explain it. Ice Cube Storm Pheasant Mouth. Aokiji raised his hand suddenly, the right arm gathered cold air and turned into ice, and then, a large ice bird more than 10 meters long spewed out from his right arm. This is one of his famous stunts. The ultra-low temperature ice bird has an extremely strong impact, and everything it passes turns into frozen soil, and it will continue to absorb moisture in the air during the flight process, condensing into ice, strengthen oneself. And the person hit by the violent pheasant's mouth will face the double blow of shock and cold at the same time, which can be described as a trick with no solution. Storm Pheasant's Mouth. A sneer twitched at the corner of Lei Luo's mouth, he clenched his fist to gather strength, and the haki all over his body flowed, gathering toward his right arm. In the original work of Pirates, Aokiji used this trick to easily crack Ace's mirror flame, which is quite powerful. However, this trick is not unsolvable. To some extent, this trick is easy to crack, as long as it is smashed with stronger force. Advertisement. In the blink of an eye, the big icy bird had already rushed to Lei Luo, the bone-piercing cold hit his face, and the capillaries under the skin were so cold that it hurt. Lei Luo punched like lightning, with a simple but fierce punch, directly facing the big ice bird. Boom. The two collided, and the sound was like thunder. The flowing haki turned into an invisible energy, piercing through the ice bird, causing it to fall apart, and suddenly turned into a puddle of crushed ice. Almost at the same time, a chill appeared behind without warning, making Lei Luo's back chill, and he subconsciously turned around, only to see a rapidly enlarged ice skate under his eyes. Aokiji is holding the skates, the tip of the skates is black-gray, apparently blessed by Armament Haki. Deliberately release the pheasant's mouth, which is a huge move to attract my attention, and then wrap the body around the back, and give me a fatal blow with the ice blade with the color of the weapon. Oh, interesting, this is like a battle with Admiral. Lei Luo saw the timing, covered Armament Haki's fist and greeted him without hesitation. Crack. Even the skates covered by Armament Haki could not escape the fate of being crushed under Lei Luo's iron fist. There is no skill at all in Armament Haki's head-to-head confrontation. Whoever is stronger will win. Aokiji's Armament Haki and Lei Luo are obviously not at the same level. However, the moment the skates shattered, Lei Luo clearly saw the corner of Aokiji's mouth twitch. Fraudulent. Lei Luo realized something in an instant, stepped forward, and smashed Aokiji in front of him with a punch. Sure enough, it's an ice substitute. Lei Luo's tyrannical fighting intuition was inspired to ultimate, and he hurriedly turned around. Sure enough, there was another Aokiji behind him. At the beginning, it was the ice substitute who went around behind, and the real body was still hidden in the pile of crushed ice, waiting for an opportunity to launch a fatal blow. Substitute tactics. This Aokiji Admiral's tactics are surprisingly ninja. The fully charged fist punched out, but Aokiji in front of him turned into shattered ice again. What? Advertisement. Another ice stand-in. Almost at the same time, a cold arm rested on Lei Luo's shoulder from behind, and Aokiji's magnetic baritone voice sounded. Frozen moment. The chill in Aokiji's palm surged, turning Lei Luo into an ice sculpture in the blink of an eye. Lei Luo also understood that Aokiji, who was holding the skates at the beginning, was the main body. At the moment of being shattered, he used elementalization to confuse his vision, and used the ice cube hidden in the mouth of the violent pheasant to pretend to be the main body to lure him into being fooled. When he thinks he has defeated Aokiji's body, Aokiji's real body will explode. As expected of a Marine Admiral who has experienced many battles, his fighting awareness and fighting mind are quite strong. Lei Luo praised, and at the same time began to mobilize the Armament Haki in his body. Aokiji breathed a sigh of relief. Call. It's finally done. It's been a long time since I met such a tricky guy. If it wasn't for the fact that this guy's combat experience was a little poor, and his vision was confused by the ice double, it would have taken a lot of effort to stop him. He breathed a sigh of relief, but Aokiji didn't care about it at all. He kept his arms on Lei Luo's shoulders, and the cold output increased instead of decreasing. This guy has even mastered Emission Haki, and his body must be quite strong. If he is not careful, he will definitely break through the ice and run out. In order to avoid trouble, you just fall asleep in the cold. Crack. As soon as the words fell, a slender crack suddenly appeared on the solid ice layer. Chapter 13. Armed colors are fully activated, and the speed explodes. Ask for flower evaluation votes. Advertisement. What? Aokiji was taken aback, and a sense of inconceivability swept over his body. This damn guy, even if the cold air is continuously output, it can't freeze him. Aokiji subconsciously increased the output of cold air, and the ice sculpture grew rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a few breaths, it was directly frozen into a 2-meter-high ice ball. However, Aokiji didn't have time to breathe a sigh of relief, and heard another click. Damn it, an ice hockey puck more than 2 meters high, with a maximum thickness of more than 1.5 meters, can such thick ice not seal it? Aokiji just wanted to continue to increase the cold output, but it was too late. The click sound was like a signal. The sound of click kept ringing, and in the blink of an eye, the solid ice was covered with spider webs. Boom. Between lightning and flint, the ice puck burst into pieces, and a pitch-black fist struck head-on with a power as fast as the wind and as fierce as thunder. Aokiji, who was still maintaining the output of cold air in the last second, had no time to react, and subconsciously turned his body into elements. Boom. Almost at the same time, the fist hit the front. Aokiji's head, which had turned into ice, was smashed to pieces with a single punch. Call. Breaking through the ice, Lei Luo breathed out a mouthful of icy air, with frost still on his body, and looked at Aokiji with burning eyes. Aokiji also regained his strength, but his eyes were filled with horror. Since I became Admiral, I haven't felt a life and death crisis for many years. At the moment when the fist was hit just now, if the elementalization slowed down a little bit, it would be impossible to escape the ending of being bombarded. This guy's strength is simply unfathomable. It cannot be estimated by common sense at all. However, after staying in the ice for so long, your blood should have stagnated, right? Armament Haki is the power derived from human chi, blood and flesh being tempered to ultimate. If the chi and blood flow is not smooth, no matter how tyrannical Armament Haki is, it will be destroyed by itself. Advertisement. Ice Thorn Spear. It was too late and then too fast. Almost at the moment when he regained his human form, a slender ice spear sprang out from Aokiji's palm at an extremely fast speed, piercing Lei Luo's chest. The Ice Thorn Spear, a simplified version of the Ice Thorn Spear, is not the most powerful among all his moves, but it has the strongest penetrating power and the fastest speed. It's over. However, in the next moment, Aokiji's face froze. The Ice Thorn Spear pierced extremely fast, but Lei Luo's reaction speed was even faster. He stomped his foot on the ground, and a gust of hot air gushed out of his body, which became extremely conspicuous in the environment where the surroundings were full of ice and the air temperature was extremely low. Immediately afterwards, Lei Luo covered his whole body with a layer of black, and Armament Haki covered his whole body. Clang. The Ice Thorn Spear pierced Lei Luo's chest without any suspense, and the sound of gold and iron clashing resounded. Crack. The hardness was instantly shattered by the Ice Thorn Spear, completely restrained by Armament Haki. Aokiji's eyes widened in surprise, uncontrollable horror welled up in his eyes, and even his pupils trembled slightly. Is this still human? Speeding up blood circulation by shaking, breaking through the blood block in the fingers can still be regarded as a strong physical fitness. But what's the matter with this stomping, directly breaking through the blood block in the whole body? Is the Emission class Armament Haki so powerful? Never heard of it. Accelerating blood circulation through instant strenuous exercise, the principle is still the same, but the shocking feeling brought to Aokiji has increased dozens of times. This guy, isn't he afraid that the sudden rush of blood will break through the blood vessels, and even directly break through the heart wall and die? This can no longer be described as physically strong, right? Monster. This guy is an absolute monster. Before Aokiji came back to his senses, Lei Luo, who was covered in black all over, launched an attack. Leap forward and punch out. Admiral Aokiji, you don't have this level, do you? In that case, I will be very disappointed. Advertisement. At the same time as the sound sounded, the fist hit Aokiji. Suddenly, Aokiji turned his head violently, perfectly avoiding Lei Luo's surprise attack. Boom, the strength of the fist was stimulated, and there was a muffled sound in the air. Oh, the corner of Lei Luo's mouth twitched into a sinister smile, and he avoided it. Immediately afterwards, another straight punch was thrown out, and the powerful black fist shook the air buzzing. Boom. However, this powerful punch hit the empty space again, only shaking the air beside Aokiji's head like an explosion, but did not hurt him at all. The always lazy Aokiji's mouth turned into a hint of ridicule. You are still far away. Ah la la la, your Armament Haki is very strong. It can break my ice with one punch. It is very powerful. Among the people I have come into contact with, Armament Haki has higher attainments than you, with one hand count them. Aokiji praised bluntly. Then the topic changed. But if you can't hit the target, it doesn't make any sense, right? After seeing Lei Luo's ridiculously strong Armament Haki, Aokiji realized that it is almost impossible to rely on Devil Fruit to stop him in a short time. In this case, change tactics. How long can your physical strength last if you have maintained a high-strength Armament Haki full coverage state? The corner of Lei Luo's mouth also curved into a sneer. Observation Haki. Huh. With a short exhalation, Lei Luo's breathing pattern changed slightly. He stomped his foot on the ground, and in the next moment, he disappeared directly from Aokiji's eyes. What? Aokiji was stunned for a second, visible to the naked eye, and the observation Haki was fully turned on, instantly covering the surrounding 100-meter area. Behind, Aokiji's right hand was cold, and he turned around and grabbed his back without hesitation, but there was nothing behind him. How so? How is this guy faster than me casting? Shave. Aokiji suddenly realized something. Could it be that he hasn't exerted his full strength since just now? Suddenly, an extremely dangerous feeling came from the side, and Aokiji subconsciously elementalized it. Boom. The sound of punches was like thunder, and the shattered Aokiji reunited his body from a puddle of crushed ice. Lei Luo smiled grimly. I can sense it, but I can't avoid it. It doesn't make any sense either. Chapter 14. Ultimate Ice, Aokiji's Ice Age. Ask for evaluation tickets and flowers. Advertisement. The scattered bodies gradually gathered together, and Aokiji's expression was abnormally ugly. This guy actually hid so much before. Although there is an elemental bodyguard, the opponent will not be able to do anything to him for a while, but it must not be delayed. Once the physical energy is exhausted, it will be completely passive. It seems that the time has come to use that trick. Aokiji looked cold, and the icy cold all over his body frantically rushed to the ground. Ice Cube Demon Hunting Spear. Boom. The ground suddenly cracked, and a thick icicle with a diameter of 3 meters sprang out. The icicle soared into the sky and turned into a huge icicle tens of meters high. The sudden appearance of ice thorns made Lei Luo stagnate. Icicles. Lei Luo froze for a second. Icicles came out from the ground. This is not Aokiji's trick in his impression. Suddenly, the ground trembled violently, and Lei Luo's strong fighting instinct drove Lei Luo to take a step back. The next moment, boom, another ice thorn appeared directly at Lei Luo's feet, soaring into the sky. Even though Lei Luo dodged quickly, his skin was still sore from the cold air from the icicles. Boom, boom, boom. The ground trembled continuously, and the icicles split into the sky one after another. In less than 30 seconds, a large forest of icicles was formed. The coverage area is so vast that it extends directly to the coast of Banaro Island, almost crossing half of Banaro Island. The icicles under Lei Luo's feet appeared more and more frequently, appearing suddenly in front of him, sometimes behind him, or attacking from both sides at the same time. Observation Haki. Advertisement. This guy is blocking my position. Lei Luo realized it immediately. Sure enough, in the next moment, an iron-gray ice spike with an extremely sharp tip appeared directly under his feet, pushing him into the air. Are you blessed with armed color? Lei Luo's expression turned cold, Armament Haki turned to ultimate, and all of them poured into his fists. Crush me. Lei Luo let out an angry roar, sounding like a thunder god getting angry. The whole body Armament Haki gathers together, and throws out a concise punch, directly hitting the huge ice spike. However, the smashing scene that Lei Luo expected did not appear. The tip of the ice spear carried a bone-piercing chill, and the moment it touched the face of the fist, it directly froze Lei Luo's entire right leg. The solid ice was continuously tightening, squeezing his frozen right arm. For a moment, the blood stagnated, and even the bones were creaking. Lei Luo's face turned pale, and he took a deep breath. The jet black armor that was evenly distributed all over his body gathered on his frozen right arm. Armament Haki covers the whole body, and turns to partial coverage. The armed colors of the whole body are condensed a little and compressed to the arms. From the fist to the right shoulder blade, the black coating is particularly deep. The arm muscles suddenly tightened. Break. Lei Luo's frozen right arm slammed hard, and the strong energy spread ferociously. There were continuous click sounds on the thick ice spikes, and a boom turned into ice chips all over the sky. Break again. The fist was shot out like a cannonball, and the deep black fist brushed the air at an extremely fast speed, and there were sparks beating faintly. Boom. The sound of fists is like thunder, and the power of fists is like thunder. Before the fist touched the icicles in front of him, the strong energy it raised swept across like a tornado. With a bang, it destroyed the icicle forest spreading hundreds of meters forcefully, and shattered it in one breath. Advertisement. Vigorous and rampant, like the breath of a mad dragon, Wano Island seemed to be blown by a non-stop 8-level gale. The ground rolled up where it passed, and the thick trees were instantly broken or uprooted. When the wind subsided, a deep gully spread from the coastline to the center of the island, and it was a mess everywhere. The corner of Aokiji's mouth by the sea twitched into a cold and weird smile, and the ice cube demon hunting spear won him plenty of time to recharge his energy. All the ultra-low temperature cold air in the body was released, and the solid and thick ice layer quickly spread to the ground. Ice Age. In just a moment, countless white mist swept out, instantly freezing half of Wano Island into a huge ice sculpture. The temperature in the air quickly dropped to freezing point, the scorched earth turned into permafrost, and the trees turned into ice sculptures. Before the fluttering birds had time to fly, they grew with the trees forever. Be it creatures or objects, they all turned into ice sculptures, lifelike and exuding bursts of cold air. And these cold white mist are still spreading to the other side of the island. On the other side, the temporary camp of residents on Wano Island. The air is full of dust and smoke, and the dust is billowing in the distance. The smoke that is so thick that you can't see the side and the strange white mist are constantly sweeping here, which is a doomsday scene. The women coaxed the howling children, and the men put up the tents that had been blown to pieces by the wind in the messy camp with lingering fear. This is a natural disaster. God will kill our Wano Island. First, the town was destroyed by that B*********** emitting black smoke. Just now, there was an earthquake and a strong wind. This island is about to be destroyed. Don't talk nonsense, it's pirates fighting on the island. The mayor has already asked for help from the nearest marine branch. Everything will be. In just an instant, the voice stopped abruptly, and everything in the temporary camp was still, falling into deathly silence. They didn't even realize that the cold air was coming, and they instantly turned into lifelike ice sculptures. The hand of the woman beating the child hangs in the air forever, and there is no way to fall. The person who fell from the chair still keeps falling. The bonfire in the camp will never go out again, and it will be eternal in the cold. This summer island has completely turned into a frost island, and it seems that the cold air will not evaporate and fade away in a short time, and will last for a long time. Chapter 15. Admiral Kizaru is out. Ask for flower evaluation votes. Advertisement. Meanwhile, Naval Headquarters in Marineford. The striking, marine, and the seagull logo are engraved on the ancient stone city wall buildings. In Marshal Sengoku's office, the shredder goat munches on today's discarded papers. Sengoku sat behind his desk, disc glasses hiding his frown. One Piece Roger's criminal blood is still alive. It's unbelievable. Can you believe what Blackbeard said? In order to prevent the birth of Roger's blood, Marine did the heinous thing of massacring newborn babies all over the world. Even if he paid such a heavy price, he still couldn't stop it from happening. Fortunately, that kid Kuzan is near Wano Island, and even Marine Admiral has been dispatched, so there should be no more accidents. Blue, blue, blue. The phone bug on the table suddenly yelled. Sengoku frowned slightly. Has there been a message? This is Naval Headquarters, and I am Marshal Sengoku. What? Listening to the voice from the phone bug, Sengoku's 5 fingers tightened suddenly, and the veins on the back of his hand popped out. More than an hour ago, the residents of Wano Island asked for help from the nearest marine branch, but when the branch marine arrived, Wano Island, known as the Island of Eternal Summer, had already turned into an island of frost. Moreover, the sea surface within 1 nautical mile of Fangyuan was completely frozen, and the personnel sent by the branch could not approach at all. Wano Island. Isn't that where Kuzan went? The whole island turned into frost. Ice Age. Sengoku, who was very familiar with Admiral, the third opponent, immediately thought of something, and his heart sank. What on earth is there on that island? It forced Kuzan to even use this kind of destructive trick. Advertisement. Sengoku took a deep breath. I see, this matter will be transferred to the headquarters. Remember, your branch has not received any calls for help today. Hanging up the phone bug, Sengoku punched the desk, the teacup was overturned, and the hot tea soaked all the favorite rice cakes. Then he picked up another phone bug and connected. Porsalino. Put down everything at hand immediately, and send you a warship, and drive me to Wano Island as quickly as possible. On the other side of the phone. Marshal, can't you let Sakazuki go? It's off-duty time. Get lost to Wano Island right now, and bring that kid Kuzan back to me. Sengoku finished his roar and smashed the phone bug. Of these 3 admirals, one is aggressive, one is lazy, and the other is fishing at work and disappearing after get off work. None of them can make him feel at ease. Almost at the same moment, on the comm belt in the second half of the Grand Line. Ace was driving the rocket ship forward very fast, and Blackbeard Teach was thrown by him on the back seat of the rocket ship like a dead pig. This rocket ship was specially made by Dad for him. It is said that it is from Sky Island. It can use his Mara Mara fruit flames as fuel. Even if there is only one person, it can sail fast on the sea. Flames gushed out from Ace's feet, driving the rocket ship to the maximum speed. Suddenly, violent waves surged on the calm sea, and the seawater rose to a height of nearly 100 meters. The sea water falls like a waterfall, revealing a monster that is half bear and half fish. Fire punch. Ace roared furiously, his arms turned into flames, and without hesitation punched out a huge pillar of fire 10 meters thick. The extremely hot and solid flame instantly pierced through the huge body of the monster. Ace didn't dare to stay, and controlled the rocket ship to make a sharp turn, with a shining tail of fire, and went directly past the monster. The body of the half-bear, half-fish monster crashed down, setting off a huge water splash hundreds of feet high. However, before Ace could go far, the whole sea area became restless like boiling. Huge heads emerged from the sea one after another: bears, tigers, Madara horses, giraffes, all are strange monsters that combine the biological characteristics of animals and fish. Damn, still underestimated these sea kings. Sea kings are also the so-called ocean giants, with biological characteristics of fish and various animals, the absolute overlord of Calm Belt. Advertisement. Although sea kings are found in all sea areas, most sea kings like to live in the eternally peaceful Calm Belt. In other words, the Calm Belt is the incomparably huge lair of sea kings. Because the Calm Belt does not have wind, if ordinary ships stray into it, there is only one dead end. However, although the Calm Belt is dangerous, if you cross the Calm Belt, you can save a lot of time. Vice Captain Lei Luo is alone in the face of the terrifying Marine Admiral. All Ace can think of is to rush back to the Whitebeard pirates as quickly as possible and tell his father about it. But he still underestimated the concentration of sea kings in Calm Belt. Roar. Tiger head sea kings roared, and the huge tiger claws with fish fins fell on his head. Ace didn't dare to fight back at all. Such a large number of sea kings would consume him to death, so he could only rely on his own flexibility to quickly dodge and move forward. Boom. The tiger's claw hit the sea, setting off a 100-foot-high wave, and Ace rode the wave to advance at full speed. But how can the overlord dignity of the sea kings tolerate mere human provocation? More and more sea kings joined the attacking ranks, and their huge bodies stirred up the entire sea area. For a moment, a monstrous tsunami was set off on the Calm Belt. No matter how proficient Ace's driving skills are, it still doesn't look good enough in front of this monstrous tsunami. The crocodile tail as thick as a building swept towards him, and Ace's heart tightened. Damn, we can't avoid it. It was also at this time that the rocket ship suddenly lightened. The rocket ship with reduced load seems to be transformed into a rocket, and, swish, into the air, avoiding the sweeping attack and sending Ace far away. Call. Ace let out a long breath and looked back. Damn, where's Blackbeard? Chapter 16. Push the limits and defeat Aokiji. Ask for flower evaluation votes. Advertisement. 2 days later, the frozen Banaro Island. Blood oozes from the corner of Aokiji's mouth, and his upper body is half exposed. Justice's cloak and that white suit have already been ruined. There are more than a dozen wounds and gores all over his body. The sweat on the forehead is frozen before it rolls off. Since becoming Marine Admiral, how many years have I not experienced this feeling of exhaustion? With his eyes fixed on the pitch-black figure not far away, Aokiji's eyes showed deep shock and fatigue. 2 days. For 2 whole days, there is no upper limit to this guy's physical fitness. Even if the opponent's Fang Bing is blocked, the opponent can break through the ice at an extremely fast speed. And this guy seems to have adapted to his coldness. The common level of coldness is already hard to affect the other party. But what about the other party? It just keeps getting better and better. The point is that this guy seems to be getting stronger little by little, and the Armament Haki on his body is getting darker and darker. What started off as shiny black has turned into a deep black. Lei Luo is also staring at Aokiji. In fact, he is no better than Aokiji. The original neat suit has long since disappeared, and now he is wearing a pair of trousers. The trousers have turned into ragged silk, and his body is covered with sweat and mud. His chest was heaving up and down like a bellows. Aokiji was tired, and so was he. He had been fighting high intensity on the opponent's home court for 2 whole days. The overloaded heart was pounding, and the sound of his own heartbeat fell into his ears, but it sounded like a drum beating. However, Lei Luo could feel that his body was changing subtly. Although he couldn't tell what was changing, he had a vague feeling that as long as he continued to fight, his body would usher in a qualitative leap. After a brief confrontation, Aokiji's hands turned into solid ice, and the cold air gushed out of his body, 2 thorny spears of ice. Slapping the ground with one hand, a 10-meter-thick sharp icicle pierced Lei Luo. Advertisement. At the same time, Aokiji's breathing became more and more rapid. He had been pushed to the limit. No, to be precise, every move he made now was squeezing his own limit. Lei Luo is also running the Armament Haki covering the whole body to ultimate. Bang! The icicle pierced Lei Luo's body fiercely, but was blocked by the tough absolute defense. Lei Luo hugged the icicle with both hands, and the extremely cold air instantly formed a layer of hoarfrost on his arm. Lei Luo took a deep breath, and the cold air rushed into his lungs, causing a piercing pain, but the pain also stimulated his body, bursting out with greater potential. The arm shook violently, Beishuang shattered, and at the same time stomped on the ground fiercely. Boom. The sound of stomping the ground was like thunder, and the ground actually collapsed into a large pit of more than 3 meters. The huge icicle could no longer make his body move back half a step. Roar. Lei Luo let out a roar. His voice was like a bloodthirsty beast, resisting the impact of the icicles, twisting his arms forcefully. Click. The icicle broke off and was held in Lei Luo's hands, and it immediately turned into a giant stick. Armament Haki surged wildly, and the big icicle was also covered with a layer of deep lacquer black. Lei Luo raised the giant stick with great effort, and was about to smash it down on Aokiji's head. However, the moment he lifted the stick, he faintly felt his heartbeat stop suddenly. The next moment, boom, boom, the heart beat more powerfully, and the blood circulation in the whole body accelerated instantly, as if there was an endless stream of physical energy pouring out of the body. The giant stick that was as heavy as 1,000 caddies a second ago is now as light as nothing. Breakthrough. Although Armament Haki has not improved, his physical fitness has broken the limit and reached a new height. The strength is also more than twice as strong as before. Advertisement. A cold smile appeared on the corner of Lei Luo's mouth. What he didn't know was that at this moment, the sudden acceleration of blood circulation had turned his pupils into blood like red. Aokiji looked at Lei Luo, who was not far away, and his face turned ugly. With a deep and pitch black body, blood-red pupils, and a huge black stick in his hand, he exudes an incomparable domineering power in every gesture. It's like the fierce tiger that came out of the mountain, and it's more like the dark demon god who bottomed out and was reborn. Aokiji clenched his fists unconsciously. He really is getting stronger. Buzz. Lei Luo suddenly made a move. The stick 10 meters thick and tens of meters long was playing with great power in his hand. People have a strong sense of oppression that they will die when they knock, and die when they rub it. Before Aokiji could react, the giant stick had already slammed down on his head. Not good. By the time Aokiji noticed it, it was too late. Boom. The giant stick hit the ground, shaking the ground for a while, like an earthquake. Kalon. A huge gully with a length of more than tens of meters and a height of more than 10 feet was smashed out on the ground. The giant stick was broken inch by inch, and Aokiji, who desperately used elementalization, was lying at the bottom of the ravine, dying. The prompt message of the system came immediately. It was detected that host defeated Marine Admiral Aokiji and overfulfilled the task. Congratulations to host for obtaining attribute points plus 50. It is detected that the host's physical fitness has broken through the limit in the fierce battle, and he has obtained the satisfaction gain. Close black lens bracket. Satisfaction gain. Eating energy-rich food can transform your body, and the gain will last for 30 days. Close black lens bracket. Chapter 17. Kizaru, have you ever been kicked by the light? Ask for flower evaluation. Advertisement. In the waters near Wano Island, warships are slowly sailing. Kizaru is sitting leisurely on the deck enjoying the sun. Admiral, Wano Island is ahead. Boom. The messenger came to report to Kizaru. Almost at the same time, there was a thunderous sound from the distant Wano Island. Slap. The chair fell to the ground, and Kizaru, who was supposed to be sitting on the chair, disappeared at some point. There was a flash of golden light on the bow of the warship, and Kizaru had already stepped on the barrel of the main gun. The violent sound just now sounded like thunder, but he knew clearly that it was not thunder, but to the violent movement when two top powerhouses fight. The eyes under the brown sunglasses reveal a sharp eagle-like gaze, and they cast their eyes on the faintly visible Wano Island. It was an island of ice covered in ice, and that was where the thunderous sound came from. With just one glance, Kizaru was stunned. I can vaguely see the frost falling off the island, setting off billowing white mist and dust. The island seemed to shake violently, and the surrounding sea water also surged, as if shaken by a violent impact. Looks like that kid Kuzan is in trouble. Even the appearance of the entire island has changed. Oh, it's scary. Looking at the whiteness in the distance, Kizaru said to himself, and then ordered, order the gunners, the main guns will fire at Wano Island. The order was issued, and in just 10 seconds, the main gun on the bow of the warship roared. Boom. Kizaru stepped on the cannonball, which landed directly on the edge of the coast of Wano Island. What came into view was a mess of ruins, with ice shards everywhere, a huge gully about tens of meters long, and about 10 feet deep, like a big hole had been torn open in the ground. Not far away, stood a dark figure. The figure more than 2 meters high gives people a strong sense of oppression in terms of momentum. Just looking at it, it's like bumping into a big mountain. The dark and deep armament haki covered his whole body, and the surrounding air was faintly distorted. Judging from the aura, FK, Admiral. Kizaru, who was always idle, was taken aback, and hilariously lowered the brown sunglasses on the bridge of his nose, and bulged his eyes out, as if he could see more clearly this way. Advertisement. No wonder Sengoku takes up his off-duty time, and no wonder Kuzan, who has always done things in a regular way, freezes the entire island with an ice age regardless of the impact. It turns out that there is such a terrible guy on this island. Kizaru pushed the sunglasses back to their original position. Excuse me, have you seen Marine Admiral Aokiji? The pitch-black figure suddenly turned around, and what caught Kizaru's eyes was a pair of scarlet eyes. With the jet-black armed color and the domineering demeanor, he looks like a violent beast. Lei Luo was about to use up 50 attribute points when he suddenly heard a gunshot, followed by a voice behind him. He turned his head suddenly, his pupils trembled slightly. Brown sunglasses, a gold and yellow striped suit, a marine-style cloak, and gold epaulettes on his shoulders, and there's a streak between his brows that can't be concealed by sunglasses. Wretched. Marine Admiral Kizaru Pelusalino. This guy is here too. Lei Luo pointed to the ravine. Go dig it yourself. Kizaru's breath changed suddenly. Let me ask again, have you ever been kicked by the light? Shua. Before the words fell, a golden light flashed, and Kizaru's light speed kick had arrived in front of Lei Luo, and the light speed kick set off a violent gust of wind, so fast that he couldn't even see it. So fast. Lei Luo only felt a flash in front of his eyes, and his tyrannical fighting instinct drove him to make a blocking action. Boom. Lei Luo was shocked. This is the so-called, is speed equal to power? As expected of Kizaru, the oldest of the three admirals, a light speed kick made his arm-covering Armament Haki feel pain. As everyone knows, Kizaru's shock at the moment is far greater than his. Can't kick. Why is this kid's Armament Haki so strong? Advertisement. It's like kicking on steel, and my legs hurt. The last time I felt this way was when I was sparring with teacher Black Arm Zephyr. Moreover, the most terrible thing is that this guy caught his light speed kick. Catch it. Hold it. Catch it. It's okay to catch and get kicked are two completely different concepts. You know, he is light. Even a simple kick is at the speed of light. Can this kid catch the light? Amazono's sword. Kizaru is a veteran who has experienced many battles. Although he is idle every day, he reacts very quickly when fighting. The golden light surges in his palm, and a golden long sword is transformed into a golden light in the blink of an eye. Swish, swish, two swords cut out. Clang clang. The sound of gold and iron clashing sounded, and there were only two faint traces like white lines on Lei Luo's body. How come? Kizaru could only feel his head buzzing. The power of the Amazono sword was several times faster than the speed of light kick, equal to the speed of light plus the power of laser cutting, yet it only left two white marks on this kid. What the hell is this monster? Taking advantage of the moment when Kizaru was in a daze, Lei Luo suddenly made a violent attack, clasped Kizaru's cheekbones with his pitch-black 5 fingers, and fell hard to the ground. Captured by armed colors, not even light can escape. However, at this moment, there was a slight sound in the deep ravine. Lei Luo's face changed suddenly. Originally, he wanted to fight Kizaru, but if Aokiji calmed down at this time, with the two marine admirals joining forces, he would not be able to bear it. As soon as he thought about it, a cold look appeared in Lei Luo's eyes, he grabbed Kizaru and stomped his feet, and jumped directly into the sea with the strong reverse thrust. Kizaru. FK. Chapter 18. 1 billion reward, white paper flower Lei Luo. Ask for evaluation tickets and flowers. Advertisement. Want to drag me to the end? What a decisive guy. After all, Kizaru is the oldest marine admiral, his heart tensed a little, and he calmed down quickly. Directly maximize the power of the flashing fruit, and for a moment, it seemed like a shining star lit up on the sea. Excessively concentrated light generates extremely strong heat energy, nourishing. The terrifying heat energy directly acts on Lei Luo's body through Armament Haki, and the severe burning pain feels like burning skin and eroding bones. At the same time, a figure emerged from the ravine on the coast. It was Aokiji with eyes full of anger, his hands turned into ice, and the hands that were bursting with cold air were directly inserted into the sea, the Ice Age. In just an instant, the sea surface turned into an ice field, and the swimming fish that had just jumped out of the water instantly turned into lifelike ice sculptures. Damn it! Lei Luo scolded. The recovery ability of Logia demon fruit power is really pervert. How long has it been? Aokiji is resurrected with full blood. No wonder Aokiji and Akainu can fight continuously for 10 days and 10 nights in the original work of pirates. Even if they are exhausted, they can recover after a little rest. This recovery ability is simply monstrous. Lei Luo didn't hesitate any longer, and the moment he was about to fall on the ice, Armament Haki covered his right leg. Boom. The air was shaken with a violent explosion-like sound, and a powerful and swift whip kick directly acted on Kizaru. Kizaru really turned into light, and in the blink of an eye, he slammed heavily towards the shore and landed with a bang. The sky was filled with dust and smoke, and unmelted ice shards fell down. And Lei Luo took advantage of this gap and stomped on the ice. A huge gap of 100 meters was created in the solid ice, and Lei Luo jumped directly into the icy sea water. Aokiji on the beach is desperately outputting cold air, trying to freeze more sea water, so as to restrain Lei Luo. 3 admirals and 2 members come together. This guy will never run away. But he seemed to have reached the end of his strength. This Ice Age trick is just a bluff, and its power is less than 1/10 of the peak Ice Age. The beads of sweat rolling down his face rolled down without freezing. He was extremely weak. Advertisement. Even the Zone Devil fruit with the strongest recovery ability can't fully recover in such a short period of time. Aokiji can climb out of the ravine and release this Ice Age, which is already very remarkable. Kizaru stood up, unstained, and unscathed except for the consumption of some physical energy. However, there was an imperceptible fear in his eyes looking at the sea. The kid just now looked like he was only in his early 20s, and in time, he would definitely become Marine's confidant. But, what does this have to do with me, Kizaru? The 2-day battle at Boeing Island came to an end. Kizaru jumped into the air, his whole body lit up with gold light, 8-foot Chonguyu. The golden bullets shot like Gatling, smashing the ice in the blink of an eye, and the warship came quickly. Kizaru patted Aokiji's younger brother on the shoulder. Let's go, Marshal Sengoku is waiting for your report. Aokiji grimaced. Find me address. The 2 admirals jumped onto the deck, and the warship turned back. No one noticed that there was an extra smuggler in the emergency manpower compartment at the bottom of the warship. In order to avoid being attacked by Sea Kings when crossing the Calm Belt, the bottom of Marine's warships are inlaid with sea stone. Sea stone can paralyze the senses of Sea Kings, and can also release a special magnetic field that repels all ability users. Therefore, even if he is on the same boat with Aokiji and Kizaru, two Admiral-level ability users, Lei Luo is not afraid of being discovered. 2 nights later, Naval Headquarters in Marineford. In the conference room, except for the temporary absence of the Marine hero Garp, Marshal Sengoku, Headquarters General Staff Crane, Akainu Sakazuki, Kizaru Pelusalino, Aokiji Kuzan, alternates Admiral Momosugi, T. Dolphin, Vice Admiral Ghost Spider, Flying Squirrel, Huo Shaoshan, Doberman and others are all present. The video phone bug projected a reward order on the screen. It was a young man in his early 20s, with sharp edges and corners on his face, his naturally curly hair tied into a ponytail, wearing a black suit, and the handmade white paper flower on his chest was particularly eye-catching. In the column of bounty, 1 starts at the beginning, followed by a long series of 0, 1, 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, 100,000, million, 10 million, billion, billion. Seeing the reward order on the curtain, the faces of the Marine executives present all changed slightly. Isn't this the President Lei Luo of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce? Well, how did this guy become a wanted criminal? There was a thin layer of cold sweat on the forehead of the alternate Admiral Chifu. A young, promising and honest businessman drank tea. Dear mother, this might affect my official career. The Vice Admiral Ghost Spider and the Flying Squirrel looked at each other, and they both saw deep shock in each other's eyes, no, fear. At the beginning of this year, they just attended the annual meeting of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce together, and they held shares in the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce branches in their respective jurisdictions, giving green light to the merchant ships of the Chamber of Commerce all the year round. Advertisement. An honest businessman has become a wanted criminal. All of a sudden, there were bursts of whispers and discussions in the meeting room. Boom. Sengoku, who was sitting in the first seat, patted the table, and the meeting room fell silent. Sengoku's thick and dull voice sounded. I can see that everyone here is familiar with this person. Everyone's heart trembled. Not only were they no strangers, many of them were honorary partners of this Chamber of Commerce and received bonuses every year. Tell me about this person, Suru. Staff Crane said coldly. Lei Luo, 24 years old, the behind-the-scenes boss of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. His chambers of commerce have branches all over the world. He has become a well-known wealthy businessman by relying on freight and earning the price difference of goods all over the world. His financial strength is second only to gold. Ditto Zoro. The foundation is clean, there is no criminal record. Speaking of which, Staff Crane's voice paused, and the topic changed. It has been found out that this person has secret contacts with the Whitebeard pirates, and is suspected to be a secret core member of the Whitebeard pirates. As soon as the voice fell, the conference room had already exploded. What? This is impossible. Liar. Is this guy, from Whitebeard? Who would have thought that an honest businessman would collude with the Whitebeard pirates? Whitebeard. That is the emperor who ruled the sea in the second half of the Grand Line, one of the 4 emperors. The T-Dolphins, Ghost Spiders, Flying Squirrels and others were even more frightened, as if their hearts were gripped by a pair of invisible hands, and they even had shortness of breath. Damn it, how did you get involved with such a guy? Sengoku said in a calm voice, everyone be quiet. About this Lei Luo, Kuzan, Pelusalino, you have fought against him, tell me. Chapter 19. Admiral Level Strength, the true face of businessman Lei Luo. Ask for flower evaluation. Advertisement. There was an uproar in the conference room, this Lei Luo actually fought against 2 admirals. All of a sudden, everyone who was familiar with Lei Luo was stunned. Although this President Lei Luo is not as weak as ordinary businessmen, he is only stronger than ordinary people. He actually has the strength to fight Admiral. Are you kidding me? Aokiji had a sullen face, his dark face was covered with a layer of obvious shadow, and he reported in extremely concise language. I fought hard with him for 2 whole days, and finally I was exhausted, and I lost half a move. What? The Marine executives present looked up at Aokiji's direction almost in unison, trying to see through this cold joke that is not funny at all. Even Akainu, who had always been at odds with Aokiji, suddenly raised his head, his tiger eyes were full of bewilderment, and a strong sense of inconceivability swept over his whole body. A mere businessman fought with Aokiji for 2 whole days. Aokiji lost in the end. What kind of international joke are you making? Although Aokiji is the youngest of the 3 admirals, his admiral-level strength is real. Kuzan, you are responsible for what you say. Akainu choked out such a sentence for a long time. Aokiji gave Akainu a sideways look, how the hell would I use my reputation to make fun of this? Then he said. This Lei Luo has a very high attainment in Armament Haki. He can cast the rare Emission Haki at will. His body is as hard as steel and has no flaws. Even attacks that are also covered with armed colors are difficult to work against him. His body has been tempered to an extremely terrifying level, and the air is shaking with his gestures. No, even if he just stands there, the aura alone is enough to slightly distort the air. Aokiji recalled the battle experience of the previous 2 days. Even though it has been so long, it still makes one's heart tremble when he recalls it. He will never forget the feeling of being pushed to exhaustion by Lei Luo and having no time to recover. Then added. Maybe, among Marine, only Vice Admiral Garp and his predecessor Admiral Zephyr can beat him. Hiss. The voice fell, and there were only gasps in the conference room. Emission level armament Haki. No wonder. Advertisement. This is already stronger than most of the people here, but only Vice Admiral Garp and the former Admiral Zephyr can overwhelm him. Isn't it a bit exaggerated? Vice Admiral Garp is the marine hero who captured the One Piece King Roger alive. Armament Haki is strong enough to pass through mountains with one punch. He even created a peerless feat of leveling 8 mountains by practicing boxing. He is called Vice Admiral, but his strength has already surpassed Admiral. Marshal Sengoku in front of him is the younger brother. Lei Luo is so strong that he can be compared with Vice Admiral Garp. Everyone looked at Kizaru, hoping to get a negative answer from him. After all, what Aokiji said sounds too bizarre to be believed. Kizaru shrugged leisurely. Kuzan is right, even if Lei Luo's accomplishments in Armament Haki are not comparable to Vice Admiral Garp, it is not within my generation's reach. This guy caught the old man's kick at the speed of light. Even the most powerful sword of Tien Kongyan can't cut him. Goo. The sound of swallowing saliva was heard one after another in the conference room. Catch a lightspeed kick. Is that a lie? Everyone present here knows that Kizaru Admiral's kick at the speed of light is the speed of light in the true sense. Even if it is a light kick, the power can easily pass through mountains and rubble. The sword of Amakongyan is one of Kizaru Admiral's killer moves. No matter how hard the steel is, it can't stand his slash. The old man fought 3 tricks against him, and he escaped in the end. He almost knocked the old man into the sea. Kizaru's voice fell, and the entire meeting room fell into a deathly silence, absolutely silent. What kind of monster is this Lei Luo? First fought fiercely with Admiral Aokiji for 2 full days, and then escaped from the hands of Admiral Aokiji and Kizaru. In this way, wouldn't Lei Luo's strength be stronger than the current 7 warlords of the sea? At least, none of the active 7 warlords of the sea can escape from the hands of the 2 admirals. Is this still the chairman Lei Luo they know? A shrewd businessman suddenly turned into a superpower who can fight against 2 admirals at the same time. This contrast is really unacceptable. It makes people feel like they have heard an extremely exaggerated and false joke, but the person involved has come up with a lot of evidence to prove that this absurd joke is true. It's ridiculous that such a strong man secretly colludes with Whitebeards, criminals, and has been dealing with them for so long, they didn't realize it. Advertisement. Marshal Sengoku slapped the table, and everyone trembled. They more or less profited from Lei Luo's White Paper Flower Business Association. They had ghosts in their hearts and a guilty conscience. You all know what kind of enemy we are facing. A man strong enough to fight 2 admirals, a man who secretly worked for Whitebeard, has been operating under our noses for so many years. We don't know anything about it. It's a shame, a shame. I now declare that from now on, the branches of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce scattered all over the world will be seized, and the White Paper Flower Lei Luo will be wanted all over the world. The reward will be issued to each marine branch and the 7 warlords of the sea. 1 billion gold, life or death. Everyone stood up at the same time, and agreed with a serious expression. Yes. Sengoku is still sullen. Also, if there is shit on your body, wipe it off yourself. Anyone who affects Marine's reputation will be severely punished. T-Dolphin, Ghost Spider and others felt tight. Yes. Sengoku waved his hand. Sit down. Another thing, about the evil blood of One Piece Roger. At the same time, the headquarters of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce is located in Pandora, the island of entertainment on the Grand Line. In the president's office, Karina, the former phantom thief known as the Mysterious Fox, and now the vice president of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce, and chief intelligence officer, is processing the Chamber of Commerce's documents in an orderly manner, her fair and pretty face full of sorrow. Today, he didn't come back again, alas. Blue. The phone bug on the table suddenly called out. Karina looked, the number of naval headquarters. And it was from the marshal's office. The phone bug connected. Hello, this is the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. What? Close all branches of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. Sell all Mingmian industries before dawn. Start the second plan and transfer all assets. Yes, I understand, boss. Find the whereabouts of Tyrant Bear. Boss, what do you want him for? Also, why did you go to naval headquarters? Yes, I understand. Don't ask what shouldn't be asked. Chapter 20. The extreme shock of the Whitebeard pirates. Ask for flower evaluation votes. Advertisement. At dawn, when Marine executives were worrying all night about Roger's criminal blood, the freshly released bounty warrants have been flying around the world with the news birds. New World, the waters near the calm belt. The main ship Moby DK was driving on the rough sea like an angry whale, and behind it were 3 accompanying ships that were slightly smaller. Except for the captain of the 2nd Division, Fire Fist Ace, and the captain of the 4th Division, Sake, all the captains of the 14th Division are here, and the pirate flag of Whitebeard's skull is flying on the high flagpole. According to the information sent back by Ace, the deputy captain of the Whitebeard pirates is fighting with Marine Admiral Aokiji in order to cover the retreat of Ace. The Whitebeard pirates will never abandon their families. The captain of the 14th Division and a total of 1,400 elite members gathered here. The captain of the 5th team, Vista, asked, Father, are you really not informing the pirates under your command? No, there's no time. Whitebeard stood at the bow of the Moby DK, holding the naginata tightly in his hand, and the sea breeze blew the cloak on his body rattling. The captain of the 1st team, Marco, fell from midair and put away the blue flames all over his body. Father, we are going to calm belt soon. Whitebeard exudes unparalleled domineering power all over his body. Go straight through. Those who stand in my way will die. Lei Luo met Marine Admiral because he helped him protect Ace, and no matter what, brother Lei Luo could not face the danger alone. Wano Island is in the first half of the Grand Line, which is Marine's territory, and must be rushed to support as soon as possible. As for the time being too tight to coat the boat, there is no way to cross the red line. Oh, then cross the calm belt. Understood. Marco agreed, turned into a phoenix, and flew to the 3 accompanying ships to deliver the message. A few minutes later, Marco the Phoenix went back and forth with a news bird in his hand. Look, Dad, is this Vice Captain Lei Luo? All the captains of the Whitebeard pirates have an almost blind admiration for the mysterious Vice Captain, because according to the father, the Vice Captain Lei Luo is omnipotent. As soon as they heard the news that there was a deputy captain, all the captains of the 14th Squadron gathered around them immediately. Marco handed over the reward order, on which was Lei Luo in a dark suit, and the white paper flower on his chest was particularly eye-catching. Whitebeard Edward Newgate received the reward order, and immediately laughed loudly. That's right, it's brother Lei Luo, our vice captain. Advertisement. Gu la la la. Lousy knew that he would not be caught by Marine so easily. Hearing what the old man said, the captains of the 14th Division rushed forward, and everyone was curious about what the deputy captain in Legendary looked like. He's Vice Captain Lei Luo. He's so young, he looks about the same age as Ace, right? It turns out that Chairman Lei Luo of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce is our Deputy Captain Lei Luo. I thought Vice Captain Lei Luo was a loyal elder like Daddy. Hey, look at the reward amount. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, billion, billion. FK, billion. As expected of the Vice Captain, the first time I offered a reward, I broke through the billion mark. There are not many Whitebeard pirates offering a bounty exceeding 1 billion, but the first time the bounty exceeds 1 billion, let alone the Whitebeard pirates, even the entire sea is the only one. For a while, there was a lot of discussion on the Moby DK, and the tense and chilling atmosphere before disappeared. Where's the newspaper? Marco, give me the newspaper. Whitebeard yelled. Marco handed over the newspaper, and Whitebeard took a look, and the eye-catching headline in red font came into view. Wanted all over the world, Whitebeard Pirates Vice President, White Paper Flower Lei Luo. Close black lens bracket. Gu la la la, as expected of my Whitebeard's brother. Aokiji and Kizaru both failed to keep him, ha ha ha, long face. Hearing Whitebeard's loud laugh, all the captains of the 14th Division gathered around to read the newspaper. White Paper Flower Lei Luo and Marine Admiral Aokiji fought fiercely on Wano Island for 2 full days. Diamond Chaozi couldn't help but look horrified, and screamed out, he fought against Aokiji, and the chill that pierced the bone marrow is still vivid in his mind. How could the deputy captain fight a pervert like Aokiji for 2 days? What kind of terrifying strength is this? The two fought fiercely for 2 days. Admiral of Headquarters Kizaru came to help out, but still failed to keep Lei Luo, and was almost thrown into the sea by Lei Luo. The captain of the 5th Division, Vista, held down his trembling mustache, but he was able to escape while facing 2 Marine admirals at the same time, and almost killed Kizaru. Advertisement. As expected of the omnipotent vice captain that the old man said, this admiral class is quite strong. Haha, even Kizaru's light speed kick was blocked by the vice captain. Amazing. The Phoenix Marco's pupils trembled violently. Kizaru is his old opponent. Every time a conflict breaks out, he is the only one who can block Kizaru's light speed. If you get hit, you will heal extremely slowly. Can the vice captain block the light? This powerful strength is not much better than that of the old man. If you don't make a sound, you will become a blockbuster. The deputy captain has been dormant for so many years, and now he is completely famous at sea. Whitebeard grinned, boys, return home. Yes. The captains of the 14th Division responded in unison, the chill atmosphere dissipated, but the morale of the fleet increased even more. The deputy captain was so strong, who would dare to make trouble with the Whitebeard pirates? In the future, the deputy captain will lead the Whitebeard pirates to rule the entire sea. Whitebeard called Marco and ordered, Marco, you are fast, hurry back and inform all the forces in our territorial waters, and get ready to welcome Lei Luo and the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce. This time Lei Luo is wanted, and his White Paper Flower Merchant Association probably won't be able to keep it. In this case, we must bear his loss. Understood. Marco promised, but what should I do? Whitebeard laughed and said, it's very simple, notify the forces in the jurisdiction, and then release the news that the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce will take root in our territorial waters. With the reputation of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce, there will be many people who come here after hearing the news. I will use this to help him rebuild the Chamber of Commerce. Marco nodded. Father still thinks long-term, I'll do it right away. Whitebeard grabbed Marco and ordered. Also, go send a message to the red-haired Shanks, just say that Lousy wants to see him. Yes. Marco didn't ask any more. A gleam flashed in Whitebeard's eyes, and if he took advantage of the rebuilding of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce to pull the red-haired Shanks into the game, the two families would form an alliance, and brother Lei Luo would have another strong backing. Chapter 21. Shock the world. White Paper Flower Lei Luo. Ask for flower evaluation votes. Advertisement. On a certain winter island in the New World. The Redfirth with its bow like a red dragon is moored here. In the Leeward Cave, the red hair pirates have just finished a banquet, and the hangover redhead Shanks is in a daze. Vice President Ben Beckman walked in with a roll of newspapers. Shanks, there seems to be another interesting thing happening on the sea. The figure that made him bet an arm came to Shanks' mind. What's the matter? What's going on with that kid Luffy? Ben Beckman shoves the newspaper into Shanks' hands. It's not Luffy the brat. It's the guy who turned down your invitation. Refused my invitation. Lei Luo. Shanks sobered up in an instant, his originally cloudy eyes suddenly became sharp, and the faint pressure spread to the surroundings. Wanted all over the world, Viceroy of the Whitebeard Pirates, White Paper Flower Lei Luo. It's really him. Seeing the arrest warrant of Zhang Tong, Shanks was stunned for a second, visible to the naked eye. White Paper Flower Lei Luo. He was very familiar with this person, the president of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce, an extremely shrewd businessman. Financial resources are second only to Tesoro, who is known as the Golden Emperor. All the subordinates under him are elite soldiers and strong generals, such as Karina, the second in command of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce, and that guy who is called a ghost. It is said that Mrs. Shaki, who lives with Rayleigh's mate, buys information from them. And all along, the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce has been the most stable and largest supplier of red hair pirates. Food, weapons, and various resources, as long as the starting price is offered, he can deliver it to your door. He had met Lei Luo half a year ago, and he had taken a fancy to this guy's economic acumen, and wanted to lure him into the team and become the treasurer butler of red hair pirates. But as soon as he met Shanks, he realized that this guy was by no means simple. There was a domineering power all over his body, not Conqueror's haki, but a pure domineering aura. This kind of aura is definitely not something that a simple businessman can have. Now it seems that his original judgment was correct. White Paper Flower Lei Luo is actually the Queen's deputy of the Whitebeard Pirates. Shanks continued reading from the paper. White Paper Flower. Lei Luo and Marine Admiral Aokiji fought fiercely on Banaro Island for 2 full days. It's amazing. Although Aokiji is the most junior of the 3 admirals, his strength at the admiral level is not watered down at all. The two fought fiercely for 2 days, and the admiral of headquarters Kizaru came to help out, but still failed to keep Lei Luo, and was almost thrown into the sea by Lei Luo. From this point of view, even Kizaru, the oldest marine admiral, is in his hands. Did you lose half a move? Besides, how can one person escape the extremely unfavorable situation of double admirals? It's no wonder that the bounty that was offered for the first time has exceeded the 1 billion mark. It is indeed the person Lousy has his eyes on. Advertisement. Shanks is very clear about the strengths of Kizaru and Aokiji, a speed light and an extreme cold ice. Meeting these two guys at the same time, even he will have a headache. He thought that Lei Luo is very strong, but he didn't expect this guy it's so strong. This strength, put in the red hair pirates, can be ranked in the top 5, maybe the top 3. It's a pity, such a talent, still voted for the old ghost Whitebeard. It's also the 4 emperors group. How can my red hair pirates be inferior to his Whitebeard pirates? For a moment, Shanks actually got a feeling that the more he thought about it, the more angry he became, and he put the newspaper aside. Don't give me such troublesome things in the future. The corner of Ben Beckman's mouth curled up with a witty arc. Lei Luo is wanted, and the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce under his name will definitely not be able to keep it. If we use our influence in New World to help him rebuild the Chamber of Commerce. Speaking of this, Ben Beckman deliberately stopped speaking, but Shanks subconsciously continued. Then even if he doesn't board the ship, he will become our stable ally. What do you think? Ben Beckman looked at Shanks with a half smile. Shanks slammed the table, waking up the sleeping Usopp, Lajalu and others. Little ones, set off immediately and go drink with Whitebeard. Over time, Newsbird has sent newspapers further afield. The All Nations of the New World, the only woman among the 4 emperors, Charlotte Linlin established a special dynasty that includes all races. BIGMOM Charlotte Linlin keeps stuffing delicious desserts produced by the Fishman Island into her mouth. The past deliciousness has become tasteless in her mouth now. Throwing the newspaper in his hand heavily on the face of the eldest son Charlotte Perrault, pointing at a group of children and angrily said. Look at others, and then at you. It has been lurking under Marine's nose for several years without being discovered. White paper flower merchants are all over the world. What about you? You can't even manage an island. Charlotte became more and more angry with Linlin. She was also 4 emperors. She couldn't tolerate Whitebeard's sudden addition of such a tyrannical helper. This would break the balance among the 4 emperors. The second son of Charlotte's family, Emperor Vice Katakuri, stepped forward and said in a deep voice, Mom, how about sending a marriage invitation to this Lei Luo? Which sister can capture this Lei Luo? I am willing to give up the position of Emperor's deputy. Charlotte felt relieved of Linlin's anger, but this son is the most reliable. Look at your second brother, and then look at you. Have you heard what Katakuri said? Send Lei Luo a marriage invitation immediately. Advertisement. Wano Kuni's haunted island. In the castle shaped like a huge skull, Kaido was gurgling and drinking, and the 3 big billboards of fire, plague, and drought were all present, with different expressions, but they were all surprised. Emperor's deputy White Paper Flower Lei Luo. Whitebeard, an old dog, has such a master hidden under his command. Yan Wanjin was sullen, and he was also part of the 4 emperors pirate group, and any stronger side might break the balance. A master. Brother Jin thinks too highly of him. Armament Haki is just, how strong can he be better than the governor? The simple-minded Jack the Drow has always admired Kaido, and even imitated Kaido as much as possible in the direction of improving his strength. Governor Kaido looked at Jin with drunken eyes. Master, can you give me a death sentence? Jahahaha. Seeing Kaido's reaction, Jin knew that the governor would not listen to any suggestions right now. Compared to this, how is that idiot Orochi doing now? Kaido asked. Plague Quinn said. As always, the Red Sheath Warrior is back to kill him. Kaido. Keep an eye on that idiot, don't let him ruin my business. Yes. De Reis Rosa, the king who stole an entire country, Heavenly Yaksha, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, Don Quixote Doflamingo is flipping through a map with a newspaper rolled up in his hand. This guy Lei Luo is actually a member of the Whitebeard pirates. Or the Emperor's deputy. So, Marco, the Emperor's deputy, is a fake. Mentioning Lei Luo, Brother Ming's teeth itch with hatred. This guy and that damned white paper flower chamber of commerce have robbed him of a lot of business. If it wasn't for this damned Lei Luo, how could he be short of funds, how could he have been rejected? Kaido is so tight. Now is the chance for revenge. There was a hint of greed in his eyes under the sunglasses. Brother Ming looked at his 3 cadres of spades, clubs, and diamonds, and threw the map down. Unplug all the branch strongholds of the white paper flower chamber of commerce marked on it. Chapter 22. The world of great navigation with undercurrents surging. Ask for flower evaluation votes. Advertisement. The ruins of the subjugated country on Boeing Island. Shua. The bright green sword light flashed, and the sharp sword energy seemed to be able to cut open space. Buzz. The sword light fell on the sea, and the entire sea was cut open. The water flow continued to gather, but it took a long time to fill the huge gap. Dracula Mihawk, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, put away the black knife and knight, and picked up the newspaper and the reward notice on the side. His eagle-like sharp eyes seemed to be able to pierce through the portrait on the wanted notice. What a white paper flower Lei Luo. This time, Shanks has a more venomous vision. Lei Luo, you really are not simple. Fighted against Aokiji for 2 full days, and blocked Kizaru's light-speed kick. Hey, interesting, even the sword of Amakongan couldn't defeat his armed defense. Hawkeye looked at the surface of the sea that had not yet healed, and there was a fighting spirit in his eyes. Lei Luo. I don't know if you can catch my knife. The Fishmen Island under the 10,000-meter deep sea. The skull flag of the Whitebeard pirates is flying at the top of this special island. Dragon Palace, the residence of Hexia Jinbei. Ace, how are you recovering? Jinbei, a fat blue man with a simple appearance but exuding a leadership aura, just came back with a newspaper. Hello, Wo Heng, rest of your life. Ace, who wished he could even eat the plate, had his mouth full of food. Jinbei said angrily, you little boy messed up and dared to cross the calm belt. You're lucky if you don't die. Ace chuckled. Hey, I'm also in a hurry, thanks to you, otherwise I'd be dead. Any news about Dad and the deputy captain? He had already broken out of the calm belt, exhausted his strength at the last moment, sank into the sea, and his internal organs were squeezed and deformed by the strong pressure of the sea water. If it weren't for the rescue of Jinbei, who had always been friends with the Whitebeard pirates, he would have died. To drown alive. It is also thanks to Jinbei's help that the news can be delivered to the Whitebeard pirates in time. Jinbei threw the newspaper to Ace and said, I knew you would ask this, let's have a look. Ace stuffed the big piece of shellfish into his mouth, and grabbed the newspaper with his oily hands. Advertisement. Reward order. Who's? Lieutenant Captain Lei Luo. 1, 10, 100, 1000, 10,000. Ace counted with his fingers. FK. 1 billion Baileys. I'm only 550 million. I'm indeed the deputy captain. Ace exclaimed bursts of exclamation, and he couldn't help but recall the scene where the deputy captain Lei Luo smashed the huge hockey puck with a strong punch. The extremely domineering punch makes people feel palpitations and blood when thinking about it now. Jinbei said with emotion, I didn't expect Dad to have such a strong deputy captain Lei Luo under his command. It's amazing. In this way, the Fishmen Island under the protection of the Whitebeard pirates will be safer. Originally attached to Whitebeard's command, the purpose was to keep the Fishmen Island from being missed by other pirates, but now Whitebeard is getting older, and His Majesty the Emperor of the Fishmen Island has repeatedly mentioned to him that he wants to change the family and switch to Big Mom's command. He keep dragging. Well now, with the 20s, 1 against 2 Vice Captain Lei Luo of Marine Admiral, let's see who dares to say that the Whitebeard pirates have no future. Ace laughed and said, actually, this is also the first time I've met Deputy Captain Lei Luo. I thought he was a loyal elder like Daddy, but I didn't expect him to be about the same age as me. Jinbei smiled and said, it can be seen that you have a high opinion of this deputy captain. Ace's eyes filled with incomparable admiration and awe, of course. The vice captain's strength is not inferior to Dad. Did you not see the scene where the vice captain smashed Aokiji's ice ball with a punch, and that ice ball was half the size of Barna? Luo Island is so big. Jinbei nodded thoughtfully. No wonder the deputy captain was able to deal with the 2 admirals all by himself, and finally escaped. I thought there was an element of intentional exaggeration by the news agency. 2 admirals. Ace was stunned for a second, it was different from his impression. Jinbei was also taken aback. Didn't you read the newspaper? First Aokiji, then Kizaru, but even with both admirals, it didn't hurt a single hair of Vice Captain Lei Luo. The first officer faced not 1, but 2 Marine admirals. Kizaru, somebody who was already famous when old man Garp was in his prime. The deputy captain actually fought against him. Ace turned his eyes to the newspaper quickly, and looked at the content on the front page. He took a deep breath and secretly clenched his fists and said, if one day I can be as powerful as Deputy Captain Lei Luo, I will have no regrets in this life. Jinbei went on to say. What surprised me the most is that the deputy captain Lei Luo is the president of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce, Lei Luo. If possible, I would like to invite the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce to settle in the Fishman Island. Can you help Ace? Ace patted his chest, as if he was proud of having a vice captain like Lei Luo. Leave it on me, the vice captain Lei Luo is very kind, and he will definitely not refuse. As time went by, the four emperors, Shichibukai, and major powers at sea have all received the wanted order of Baizihua Lei Luo, and Alabasta, Germa 66 and other countries around the world have also received it. Powers and countries have all received the news. Advertisement. And of course Blackbeard, who is lying on a deserted island half-starved to death. Get out while Ace crosses the calm belt, swallow the sea with dark fruit, tame a sea king, use the power of the sea king to leave the calm belt, and return to the sea. This is his original plan. However, there was a small flaw in the plan. He did successfully tame the sea kings, but before Poseidon took him away, his meager physical strength was almost exhausted, and he managed to come to this deserted island with all his might. Although I saved my life temporarily, there was not a single passing ship for so many days. The only thing I can be thankful for is that this island seems to be a warehouse of a certain merchant, and the warehouse is full of rum to fill my stomach. Damn Lei Luo. Damn Lei Luo. 1 against 2. Against 2 admirals. You are so majestic. You'd better pray that I will never be able to leave this deserted island for the rest of my life, or I will make you a stepping stone for my reputation to resound across the sea. Cursing fiercely in his mouth, but once he recalled the scene of being punched through his chest and shattered his heart, Blackbeard was still sweating coldly on his back, and would always look back subconsciously, punching him with a domineering punch. It left a deep psychological shadow on him. Also ruined his great ideal. Staring at the reward order in front of him, the unhealed wound on Blackbeard's chest was aching, and a bright red heart was beating inside. This damn B***** D killed a third of him, making him lose his chance to be a 3 devil fruit forever. His natural constitution is different from ordinary people. If he can complete the feat of 1 body and 3 devil fruits, he will be able to stand on the pinnacle of this world. Even if he is as strong as Whitebeard and Kaido, he is only worthy of crawling and trembling at his feet. But now, everything is gone, ruined. All because of damn Lei Luo. And, accumulating fame quickly by defeating the strong was originally part of his plan. But now, what is more memorable than fighting 2 admirals at the same time as 1 against 2? Damn Lei Luo ruined everything for him. And Ace. It's also a damn guy, more hateful than Lei Luo. If Ace hadn't insisted on taking the G calm belt, how could his majestic Blackbeard end up on this deserted island? With pure hatred in his eyes, Blackbeard grabbed the body of the news bird on the ground and stuffed it into his mouth. A strong smell of blood filled his mouth. Lei Luo, just wait for me. Chapter 23. Bartholomew the Bear. Ask for flower evaluation. Advertisement. Naval Headquarters in Marineford. In the Marshal's office, Sengoku looked at the newspaper on the table, feeling a faint pain in his heart. Damn Morgans, damn news agency. These guys are lawless and pervasive, there is no news that they can't hear. Don't you know that the release of such news will cause an uproar in the world? Well now, the whole world knows that Lei Luo, the mate of the Whitebeard pirates, made a feat of fighting 2 marine admirals with 1 enemy and 2. The whole world knows that Lei Luo, a shrewd businessman who has spread his business all over the world, has been lurking under Marine's nose for several years. The traces of the Banaro Island incident were exposed before they could be erased, saying that Marine Admiral Aokiji killed thousands of civilians on the island, which had an extremely bad impact on Marine's image. Now almost the whole world is condemning Marine, condemning his incompetence as Marshal of Marine. The Marine image he worked so hard to maintain was ruined like this. Of course, Lei Luo was the one who D him off the most. This guy is not only powerful, but also as cunning as a fox. Marine's campaign to seize and suppress all branches of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce ended in failure. When Marine arrived, those chapters had already been vacated, and even the ownership of the house had changed hands. In other words, Marine didn't get a damn cent of his money. Sengoku couldn't help wondering, the people under Lei Luo were really just businessmen and employees of Common. Overnight, all branches scattered around the world completed the evacuation. What does this mean? This means that this group of people has a powerful execution efficiency comparable to the army and a terrifying intelligence transmission ability. Sengoku grabbed the newspaper on the table, went straight to Sakazuki's office with a face like water. The guys from the news agency must give a good warning. Among the entire Marine, the only one who can do this is Sakazuki. Meanwhile, the Shaki's ripped-off bar, tavern in Area 13 of the Sabayati Archipelago. Sabayati Archipelago and Marineford are just a thin line away. Coming out of the naval headquarters base, Lei Luo came here directly to meet old friends. Mrs. Shaki at the bar offered Lei Luo a freshly made ruby cocktail. I've been in business for so many years, so I just throw it away. Lei Luo took a sip of his wine. Just take this opportunity to rectify. Advertisement. At the beginning of the establishment of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce, it relied on money to be able to communicate with the gods. The relationships within Marine were smoothed out, and the pirates in various regions were given profits to survive, and there was also Whitebeard's secret support. But now, the words, White Paper Flower Lei Luo, are the strongest sign and backing, and intelligence personnel and fighters have all developed. Of course, the original way of survival must be abandoned. You probably don't know that since the news of your being wanted, His Majesty the King of de Rosa has been secretly encroaching on your original route, radiating to the world with the Sabayati archipelago as the center. Shaki lit a long thin cigarette and puffed out a smoke ring. Lei Luo laughed and said, "Isn't this great? I'm planning to put the white paper flowers in de Rosa, where the first flag will be placed in New World." "You don't mean to?" Mrs. Shaki was slightly taken aback. Shaki has felt it since Lei Luo first arrived. He always feels that the current Lei Luo is a bit different from the previous Lei Luo. The previous Lei Luo was just a businessman. Although he can feel that he is not a common businessman, he is not a common businessman. Still a businessman. And now Lei Luo, like a ferocious beast that has been lurking for a long time and finally shows its claws, exudes a faint aura of swallowing mountains and rivers, and regards the world as a thing in its pocket. Although Lei Luo deliberately suppressed this momentum when facing her, he couldn't suppress it at all, and the powerful aura that appeared from time to time was even more shocking. Lei Luo said without hesitation, "That's right. There are only a few members of his Don Quixote family, and the claws are too long. Beware of fire in the backyard." "Blue, blue, blue," the phone bug at the bar suddenly called out. Shaki picked it up and handed it to Lei Luo. "I'm looking for you." Lei Luo took over. "It's me. No need to report, you did a good job selling assets this time. Whitebeard, he can be trusted. Karina, your task for the next month is to cooperate tacitly with the Whitebeard pirates and run the Chamber of Commerce in New World. The business in the first half of the Grand Line is all dismantled and reserved as an intelligence station, while accumulating strength. The whereabouts of the Tyrant Bear have been found. Kaludia Cathedral, well done. The former site of the Sorbet Kingdom. Isn't that the home of Tyrant Bear? Then go meet this guy. If you want to go to the Boeing Islands, you have to ask Tyrant Bear for help. The Boeing Islands are the island where Usopp practiced for 2 years in the original pirate book. The archipelago that blooms like a flower is actually several carnivorous plants floating in the sea with the scientific name, Stomach Baron, also known as the Baron of the Stomach. The forest of temptation in the depths of the island is full of plants with attractive food, which will emit fragrance to attract sea beasts and sea kings. The bottomless hole in the center of the island is actually the mouth of the Baron of Stomach. When eating, it will open its mouth and close the petals to let the prey fall into the mouth. Advertisement. The farther to the outside of the island, the stronger the creatures, so it is also called an island that can't get in and out. However, for Lei Luo, this island is simply a paradise for cultivation. He thought of this island when he got the satiating buff. If he is looking for unusual food, this island is undoubtedly the most suitable. The attracted sea beasts, sea kings and man-eating plants growing on the island are also excellent training sandbags. As for how to get to South Blue, the last thing Sabayati Archipelago lacks is a boat. After a day and a night, Kaludia Cathedral. Rather than saying that this is a church, it is better to say that it is a church site. The medieval European-style church building is dilapidated, the door is covered with bird droppings, and almost none of the glass on the windows is complete. The only vitality is the emerald green creeper covering the entire south wall of the church. Lei Luo's expression was concentrated, and he could feel that there was a tyrannical aura in this old building. Good luck. Squeak. The heavy wood-clad iron gate was opened with a dull creaking sound, and what came into view was the empty cathedral, with crosses hanging on the wall directly in front, and rows of benches covered with dust. Suddenly, a swift punch resounded behind Lei Luo. Lei Luo raised his hand without looking back, and grabbed the fist that was coming from behind, rooted his feet, and exerted strength with his arms, throwing a huge round figure like a sack. Boom. There was a slightly muffled sound of vibrating air, and the round figure forcibly stabilized its momentum and landed firmly. It was a round and tall figure, nearly 7 meters tall, with a round torso, thick arms, but very slender legs, giving people a very uncoordinated feeling. A boxy poker face with gold-rimmed glasses, and a bear ear hat on his head is extremely disproportionate to his bronze skin. He clearly had a murderous look on his face, but he was still holding that old Bible in his hand. This guy is right, the Paramesha meatball fruit-capable person, the former king of the Solbi Kingdom, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, a key member of the Revolutionary Army, and a big pirate with a bounty of 296 million Baileys, Bartholomew Bear. Chapter 24. Beat the Tyrant Bear with a punch. Ask for flower evaluation votes. Advertisement. Looking at the young man in a neat suit and a handmade white paper flower on his chest, the tyrant Shangwang uttered 2 words, Lei Luo. The last time I saw this guy was at the world government's commendation meeting for the top 10 outstanding charitable businessmen. As 7 warlords of the sea, he was dispatched as a guard. At that time, he felt that this businessman was unusual, but he never expected that this guy's real identity was the Queen's lieutenant of the Whitebeard pirates, and his strength was so strong that he could fight the 2 marine admirals without defeat. It is even deeper than the core backbone of the Revolutionary Army. When he just saw the news in the newspaper that the white paper flower Lei Luo was fighting against 2 marine admirals, he once thought that the world government had once again engaged in a dirty trick of deliberately smearing and taking the opportunity to swallow the businessman's assets. After all, it's really unbelievable that a businessman suddenly becomes the deputy of the 4 emperors' pirates. It wasn't until the moment he was thrown out by Lei Luo that he finally realized that the news in the newspaper was not watered down at all. At that moment, his breath was completely suppressed by Lei Luo, and as long as Lei Luo was willing, it would be easy to cripple his arm. But the question is, how did this guy find this place? With the abandonment of the former site of the Solbi Kingdom, very few people will come here, let alone know that he is here. Did this guy know something he shouldn't know? Thinking of this, Tyrant Shang's face gradually darkened, his true identity must not be lost. Take off the gloves to reveal the cat's pad-like palm. This pad is the product of the Paramesha meatball fruit. It has extremely terrifying elasticity, can easily bounce the air, and emit a devastating air cannon. Watching Tyrant Bear take off his gloves, Lei Luo laughed and said, "No, Big Bear, this is how you treat guests." Pressure cannon. The moment he took off his gloves, Tyrant Bear slammed a palm at Lei Luo, shaking the air instantly and setting off an extremely powerful shock wave. The shock waves gathered together to form a bear-shaped cannonball, which hit Lei Luo in the blink of an eye. The corners of Lei Luo's mouth curled up, and when he clenched his fist was instantly wrapped in the dark and deep Armament Haki. Since the battle with Aokiji, his Armament Haki has become this deep black. Facing the air cannonball, he punched it hard. Advertisement. A hint of sarcasm flashed across the Tyrant Bear's face. The pressure cannon is highly condensed air, the so-called air bomb, which can easily penetrate the human body and cause devastating damage from the inside out. You're still too young, white paper flower Lei Luo. However, in the next moment, that sarcasm froze on Tyrant Shang's face. Damn it, how is that possible? I saw Lei Luo throwing a punch fiercely, boom. The extremely tyrannical fist wind vibrated the air, and the sound was like rolling thunder. Before the air cannonball could touch Lei Luo's fist, it was blown away by the tyrannical wind of the pitch-black fist. The Tyrant Bear was stunned for a moment, it was the first time he saw someone cracking the pressure cannon in such an overbearing way. However, the tyrannical fist wind strike didn't stop because it defeated the air cannonball, instead it went on a rampage, hitting Tyrant Bear in the blink of an eye. Not good. Tyrant Bear's eyes bulged out, and he raised his arm quickly, the meatball in his palm vibrated the air, and single shot violently pushed the pressure cannon. Boom. The air cannon and the fist pressure collided together, and there was an extremely dull explosion sound immediately, like 1,000 caddies of gunpowder exploding at the same time. The tyrannical air wave spread to the surroundings at an extremely fast speed, and the dozens of rows of pews in the church instantly exploded. Turned into sawdust and powder, the glass on the windows was smashed into glass slag in an instant, and even this old church-like building trembled violently. Who would have thought that this was simply caused by the collision of two convective air streams? Tyrant Bear still kept his arm raised, not because he didn't want to put it down, but because the arm was completely numb and lost consciousness. This is still in the case of using the meatball to vibrate the air to offset part of the impact of the fist wind. If the reaction was a little slower just now and this force was directly applied to the body, I am afraid that this semi-modified steel body will be scrapped in an instant. Yes. When he looked at Lei Luo again, Tyrant Shang's gaze already had a touch of fear and fear that cannot be added. It's just a punch, can it have such terrifying power? No wonder you can deal with both Aokiji and Kizaru Admiral at the same time. Lei Luo waved away the dark and deep Armament Haki on his arm. Can we have a good chat now? Advertisement. Tyrant Bear took a deep breath. Please speak. I want you to take me somewhere, the Boeing Islands. Yes, the Tyrant Shangwen said angrily, but why should I help you? Your force can kill me, but you can't convince me. The corner of Lei Luo's mouth twitched into a cold smile, as if he had expected Tyrant Shang to say this. Aren't all of you revolutionary troops full of spiritualism like you? The word, revolutionary army, exploded in the ears of the Tyrant Shang like a thunderbolt. The Tyrant Shang Yantong trembled violently. He thought that there were no mistakes in the secrecy work. How did this guy know that he was the revolutionary army? Revolutionary army? Your Excellency Lei Luo, I don't know what you are talking about. Lei Luo sneered. 10 days ago, the Kingdom of Banner purchased a large number of military weapons. 8 days ago, the Kingdom of Akanti bought 100 tons of grain. 7 days ago, the Kingdom of Arabir sold a piece of raw seastone in violation of regulations. Funds raised. Lei Luo's voice hit the Tyrant Shang's heart like a heavy hammer. Enough. Tyrant Shang's chest heaved up and down, and the shock in his eyes was too great. The kingdoms mentioned by Lei Luo just now are countries that have secretly joined the camp of the Revolutionary Army. What they are doing is collecting resources and raising funds for the Revolutionary Army. What kind of monster is Lei Luo, and where did he get this information? White paper flowers. He is clearly a white devil. Tyrant Shang recognized the reality and said, from here to the Boeing Islands, you will fly at high altitude at maximum speed for 2 days, and you can start at any time. Lei Luo. Let's get started. Chapter 25. Arrive at the Boeing Islands. Advertisement. 2 days later, above the vast sea. Huge bear paw-shaped air bubbles flew in the sky at an extremely fast speed, startling the passing seabirds to scatter in all directions. Lei Luo was lying in the air bubble in a very comfortable posture. Suddenly, the air bubble fell down, and he could clearly feel the trend of decreasing from the highest point like a parabola. Looking down, there is a large green flower blooming on the blue sea, and each flower is an island. It's finally here. A trace of undisguised anticipation surged in Lei Luo's eyes. What kind of transformation will the Boeing Islands full of special food, plus the satiety buff obtained in the last battle, bring him? Although he retreated from the 2 admirals against Aokiji and Kizaru before, Lei Luo knew in his heart that it was only because of Armament Haki's restraint effect on Logia demon fruit power. If Aokiji and Kizaru are replaced by Garp and Zephyr, he will not be so confident. Armament Haki's strengths and weaknesses are very clear, and the suppression of high-ranking people against low-ranking people is almost absolutely established. Not to mention Garp and Zephyr, the two top powerhouses, Aokiji's pervert recovery ability is currently beyond his reach. And Kizaru used the superheat released by the light at the last moment. This guy has developed Devil Fruit to ultimate. Even with the Armament Haki body, he is still burned by the scorching temperature and almost loses consciousness in his arm. Although there was an absolute defense, body protection, he did not suffer any substantial damage, but the feeling of burning pain is still vivid in retrospect. To become the top powerhouse in this world, he obviously still has a long way to go. Lei Luo clenched his fists secretly, and his eyes fell on the Boeing Islands below. If you look down from the top, the Boeing Islands are really spectacular. Stretched and stood up, stomped his feet, puff. The rapidly falling air bubbles made a soft sound and burst with a puff, losing the cushion of the air bubbles. Lei Luo fell downward at a faster speed. Armed color coverage. Clang. Advertisement. There was a faint sound of sword scraping, and Lei Luo, who was falling rapidly, was covered by the dark and deep Armament Haki, like a layer of lacquered black armor. The ground is getting closer. Bang. Finally, Lei Luo fell to the ground like a cannonball falling into the air, instantly setting off billowing dust and smoke, and the tyrannical air waves spread to the surroundings. In the blink of an eye, all kinds of food plants and man-eating plants around were destroyed. Lei Luo disarmed the color cover, and with a wave of his hand, there was a gust of wind, blowing away all the surrounding dust and smoke, and the emerald green forest came into view. The surrounding plants were no different from the common plants, but there was a tangy rice in the woods the fragrance drifted over. Lei Luo took a deep breath, and was about to walk forward in the direction the fragrance came from, when the ground suddenly trembled, shaking the ground and shaking the mountains. Did you just catch up with the eating period of the Baron of the Stomach? Lei Luo's eyes flashed brightly. It is said that the Baron of Stomach will close the petals when eating. If you look down from a high altitude, you will see the whole process of flowers turning into bamboo shoots. However, Lei Luo quickly noticed something was wrong. The surrounding trees began to wither at an extremely fast speed, and there was a feeling of rapid falling under his feet. Lei Luo instantly realized that the force of the landing just now must have been too strong, shaking the petal he was on to collapse. The essence of the Boeing Islands is the huge plant called Baron of the Stomach. All living things on the island depend on the nourishment of the plant, so the parts that lose the supply of nourishment due to breakage and collapse will naturally wither. Lei Luo stomped his foot on the ground, borrowed his strength, and shot out like a cannonball, heading directly to the core area of the Boeing Islands. Landing. Keep your feet steady. Lei Luo already knew what the core area of the Boeing Islands looked like, and he was deeply shocked by the scene in front of him. Different food aromas are floating everywhere. The waterfall in front of you is steaming ramen, the huge mushrooms under your feet are steaks sprinkled with black pepper, the treetops on the left are full of bacon sausages, and the small lake on the right the smell of wine was wafting. The wine pond meat forest in Legendary is nothing more than that, right? Lei Luo casually picked a piece of bacon and stuffed it into his mouth. The oil splashed in his mouth. It was oily but not greasy. The craftsmanship of a star hotel chef. However, what surprised Lei Luo the most was the energy contained in this piece of meat. After just eating a piece of meat, there was a sense of comfort that gurgling heat flowed through the limbs and bones, and the feeling of fullness in the abdomen was extremely strong. Is there such a huge energy contained in just a piece of meat? No wonder Usopp in the original pirate book became a big fat man after eating 3 bites in the Boeing Islands. It seems that we have come to the right place. Advertisement. Lei Luo opened the system interface, and rows of data came into view. Name. Lei Luo. Age 24. Strength. Admiral early. Armament Haki level. Absolute defense 51 1/1000. The new realm has just begun, try to reach your limit. Attribute point balance. 0. Gain buff. Satisfaction status. Disabled. Time limit. 30 days from activation. Tasks. None. Enable satiation buff. As soon as Lei Luo thought about it, the suffix of the fullness buff in the system interface suddenly changed to aging countdown 29 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes and 55 seconds. He also tore a piece of bacon from the branch and stuffed it into his mouth. As soon as he chewed it, Lei Luo froze. Can clearly feel a torrent of energy pouring into the body, passing through the 8 meridians in an extremely brutal way, penetrating into the limbs and bones, and eating a piece of meat. Lei Luo even felt his skin was burning hot and sweating continuously seep out of the pores. Along with the sweat, there are also impurities in the body. As a person who has refined his armed color to ultimate, Lei Luo thought that his body had already reached the point of 0 impurities. Only then did he realize that there are so many impurities in his body, so much that it can dye sweat into a cloudy yellow color. And as more and more impurities flow out with sweat, Lei Luo also obviously feels that his body has become much lighter. Those with impurities are as heavy as lead, and those without impurities are as light as a bird. This is the so-called, can special food bring transformation to the body? As soon as Lei Luo clenched his fist, it took almost a blink of an eye, and the dark and deep Armament Haki covered the entire arm, not a little faster than the previous covering speed. Scanning all kinds of food everywhere, the corner of Lei Luo's mouth curled up. If you stay here for a month, your strength will have a qualitative leap, right? Chapter 26. The Blackened Arm Bone, the terrifying improvement brought by the satiety gain. Ask for evaluation tickets and flowers. Advertisement. Boeing Islands in a month. Boom. Suddenly, there was a sound like a thunderclap on the sea under the clear sky. It was only for a moment, and the originally calm sea suddenly raised hundreds of feet high waves. Boom. There was another thunder and sonic boom. The old waves had not yet settled, but new waves had already risen, forming a huge water curtain hundreds of feet high. Boom. Bursts of muffled thunder and rolling sounds sounded, but no dark clouds and lightning could be seen, but the sea surface boiled, and the wind and waves rolled like a tsunami was about to come. The sound of the waves gradually subsided. Lei Luo exhausted the excess heat, opened the system interface, and the rows of data came into view. Name: Lei Luo. Age 24. Strength: Admiral early. Armament Haki level: Absolute defense 198 1/1000. The new realm has just begun. Try to reach your limit. Attribute point balance: 0. Gain buff. Satisfaction countdown: 12 minutes and 56 seconds. Tasks: none. In just 1 month, under the dual effects of the special food of the Boeing Islands and the satiety buff, his strength really took a qualitative leap. Armament Haki has also become more solid, and his absolute defense has soared from 51 to 198. The body is transforming every day, the impurities in the body are almost emptied, and the color of the sweat that is discharged now is clear, and the body is as light as a feather. This lightness does not refer to changes in weight, but changes in walking, jumping, running, etc. Time is more relaxed, and you can jump 10 meters high with a light stomp. Advertisement. The skin has become extremely tough, and every inch of muscle has explosive power. Even if it is not covered with Armament Haki, as long as he clenched his fist, the muscles will be as hard as a rock. If Armament Haki is added, his body will instantly change into indestructible steel. With a thought, Lei Luo's right arm was instantly wrapped in deep black. Looking at the right arm, a line of text that only he could see appeared. The integrity of the right arm bone arm color is 90%. What satisfied Lei Luo the most was the change of his right arm. In the past month, he accidentally discovered that the degree of armament on his right arm was much higher than other parts of his body. Everywhere in the body. Wan didn't expect that this is not a disaster but a blessing. Perhaps because of the frequent use of the right arm, the arm bone of the right arm is gradually turning black, just like a sword that has been blessed by the armed color for a long time will turn black. This is how Hawkeye's black knife Yi was tempered. The arm bone of the right arm is always covered by the armed color, and the power it exerts is naturally greater than other parts of the body. After a month of gaining food, Lei Luo could feel that Armament Haki has completely blackened the front and rear arm bones of his right arm. The right hand bone should also be blackened. In this way, this arm with no weakness will become his biggest killer. Suddenly, there was a movement like a mountain shaking from under my feet. Lei Luo froze for a moment, and found that the ground under his feet was turning into a slope at a speed visible to the naked eye, and soon exceeded 45 degrees. Eat. Lei Luo realized this instantly, and he didn't know if it was because the Sea Kings hadn't come to look for food during this period. The Baron of the Stomach didn't start eating until today. The corner of Lei Luo's mouth curled up. Use this eating to test the results of this month's practice. In just a few breaths, the ground under his feet had already tilted at a 90-degree right angle. Lei Luo lost his foothold in an instant, and his figure fell rapidly. The closed petals cover the sky and block out the sun. Not even a ray of sunlight can penetrate. This island has turned into a huge mouth of an abyss that swallows everything. However, Lei Luo reacted with extreme agility. He kicked on the inner wall of the island to use his strength, and ran directly to the inner wall of the opposite island, jumping repeatedly on the inner wall of the island. Jumping directly to the top of the inner wall. Taking a deep breath, the way of breathing changes slightly. The cells all over the body are happy, releasing energy, tightening the muscles, and accumulating power in the right arm. Break me. It was like the thunder of the 9 heavens roaring, or like 1,000 gold explosives detonated in the island at the same time. With an extremely violent boom, a big hole was blasted out in the inner wall of the island, and the violent air waves continued to blow to the surroundings. Diffusion. The sun shines in at once. Advertisement. Stimulated by the sun's rays, the Baron of the Stomach that had just closed was forced to reopen. The inner wall of the island gradually turned back to the ground, and on the ground, there was a huge hole with a diameter of more than 20 meters, which was caused by Lei Luo's punch just now. Lei Luo looked at his iron fist with satisfaction. If you encounter Aokiji's Ice Age again, 1 punch is enough. Looking at the countdown to the fullness buff on the system interface, there are still 10 minutes left. Lei Luo jumped up and ran directly to the core area full of the highest calorie food. At the same time, the palace of de Reis Rosa is thousands of miles away. The cadres of the Don Quixote family gathered in the hall, and on the throne was Doflamingo in a flamingo cloak. The plum blossom cadre Torrebel, who was dripping with snot, stepped forward. Young master, after annexing the root of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce, our monthly income this month has increased by 260% year-on-year. In the case of man-made devil fruit, arena and other income. The square-faced Diamante followed up and said, the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce seems to have disappeared from the Grand Line, and their channels and original customer resources have been fully controlled by us, but the resources on the edge of the 4 seas are operating feedback. It will be slower, and when all these resources are fully utilized, our income will double. Sitting on the throne, Doflamingo barked and smiled. Damn Lei Luo, now it seems that this guy is a coward. It's a pity that I used to regard him as a business rival. It turns out that he is nothing more than that. Just being wanted by Marine made him lose everything and shrink like a turtle. Since he shrinks, he doesn't deserve it all. After a while, Brother Ming said with a sigh again, It's ridiculous that we have been deceived by this guy who was strong in the outside world for so many years. Torrebel, speed up the operation and earn back the double of our losses over the years. Yes, Torrepal, covered in snot, agreed. Suddenly, a rocky human face appeared on the wall of the main hall, and the unique high-pitched voice of the Spade Kadri Pika came. My lord, Jack the Drow of the Beast's Pirates will arrive in 3 days. Torrebel, who claims to be the think tank of the Don Quixote family, snotted his nose. According to their way of urging goods, even if we enslave the little people, we can't afford it. Young master, we are not short of funds now, how about? Before the think tank could finish speaking, Doflamingo waved his hand violently. It's not the time yet. Tell me to go down and get ready to meet this Captain Jack the Drow. Chapter 27. Go to Reese Rosa to plant the flag. Ask for evaluation tickets and flowers. Advertisement. Seeing that the satiety gain was about to expire, Lei Luo came to the ramen waterfall without hesitation and plunged in. The time is too short to choose only the foods that are easiest to enter and swallow. Even the soup, noodles and side dishes were swallowed in one go, and the food entrance directly turned into a torrent of energy, soaking into every cell of the body in an incomparably brutal way. For a while, Lei Luo felt that even the pores on his body were absorbing energy like crazy. Gradually, more and more energy was concentrated in physical fitness, and Lei Luo became hot all over, especially his right arm, which was already scalding hot. But even so, Lei Luo didn't stop swallowing. Just a little bit, just a little bit. 60 seconds, 59 seconds, 58 seconds. Time is getting tighter. Lei Luo is consuming more and more calories. Finally, click. An extremely subtle sound resounded in the body, and the excess energy gathered in the body continued to flow into the right arm. Clang. Lei Luo didn't consciously control it at all, and his right arm was covered by the dark and deep Armament Haki. With 5 fingers moving together, every joint was crackling, and a sense of smoothness and ease emerged spontaneously. Lei Luo swallowed the food in his mouth again, feeling a burst of joy. He knew that the arm bone color coverage of his right arm had reached 100%. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time is up. The feeling of crazily pouring energy into the body disappeared, leaving only the overwhelming feeling of oversatisfaction in the abdomen. Simply put, it was full. The uncomfortable stomach is caused by excessive intake of energy. Without the satiety gain, these energy will be quickly converted into fat. Lei Luo took a deep breath, concentrated all his strength on his right arm, and punched out brazenly. Bang. The fist hits the air, and the air that was hit seems to be broken. If you look closely, you will find that there seem to be tiny cracks in the space in front of you, but they disappear soon. There seemed to be an extremely violent gust of wind blowing over the Boeing Islands, whether it was trees, man-eating plants, or food plants, they were all blown to pieces. Roar. Lei Luo raised his head to the sky and screamed, feeling relieved. Looking at the island again, a long passage appeared out of thin air, extending from here to the end of the island, as if 10 tanks were lined up and crushed past it, a mess. Advertisement. Is this the power of the fully armed blackening of the right arm bone? The corner of Lei Luo's mouth curled up in a satisfied arc, and he opened the system interface. Name. Lei Luo. Age 24. Strength. Admiral early. Armament Haki level. Absolute defense 201 thousandths. Progress to 501 thousandths can be upgraded to Admiral medium. Keep working hard. Attribute point balance. 0. Gain buff. None. Tasks. None. The satiety buff disappeared, but the upgrade progress bar of absolute defense increased by 2 points due to the last wave of overeating, and became 200 points. Lei Luo had a thought, and the left and right arms were covered with armed colors at the same time. When the two arms were compared, it turned out that the blackened color of the right arm was darker, which was obviously caused by the complete arming of the right arm bone, right hand bone, and phalanx. Even if this right arm isn't as good as old Garp's, it shouldn't be far behind. You must know that Garp the Fist's other nickname is Fist Bone Garp. Looking at his right arm, Lei Luo suddenly understood what the so-called fist bone is. When he came to the beach, Lei Luo took out his phone bug and dialed. It's me. What happened to the Chamber of Commerce? Already covered the entire New World. Very good, you are doing the right thing. Don't put up the signboard of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce for now. That guy Joker swallowed our route on the first half of the Grand Line. Oh, let him swallow it. From Reese Rosa to the first half of the Grand Line, he can't eat this piece of fat. The Revolutionary Army is looking for us for long-term cooperation. It seems that Tyrant Bear has contacted Dorag, and we can cooperate. No discount will be given for long-term supply. Karina, tell Akin to take Rudolph and wait for me in Reese Rosa. What are you doing? Of course I'm going to Reese Rosa to plant the flag. Come and go without indecent assault. Also, go find Tyrant Bear and ask him to send me Reese Rosa's eternal pointer. Advertisement. Hang up the phone bug. Almost at the same time, the system interface pops up. Mission reminder. The majesty of the strong cannot be challenged. Defeat the Don Quixote family led by Doflamingo. Mission reward. Attribute points plus 20. Task reminder. If you are a king, you will have the king's land under your feet. Control Reese Rosa. Task reward. Attribute points plus 20. There was a cold glow in Lei Luo's eyes. Doflamingo, it looks like the sky is going to kill you. ... A day later, a swift sound of breaking wind suddenly resounded over the Boeing Islands. Lei Luo raised his eyes and saw a bear-shaped bubble. Tyrant Shang's courier had arrived. The bubble hit the ground and burst apart with a puff, leaving a palm-sized bear's paw mark on the ground. Lei Luo picked it up and saw that there was a fixed pointer hanging in the hourglass bottle fixed by the tripod, with the words, De Res Rosa, engraved on it. It seems that the tyrant bear is faster at delivering things than people. Putting away the eternity pointer, Lei Luo's gaze fell to another baron of stomach in the distance, where there was a sea king's preparing to go ashore for food, with a tiger head and a fish body, and the tiger claws were covered with scales and inverted fins. Very good. The mount that left the Boeing Islands has been found. Plop. Lei Luo plunged into the sea, and about 3 minutes later, there were waves of roaring tigers and pounding fists from the offshore area of the Baron of the Stomach. Lei Luo slammed his fist. Are you convinced? Roar. 2 more bang bang punches. Are you convinced? Ho ho. Bang bang bang. After a flurry of punches. Are you convinced? Tiger head sea kings dare not call out. Chapter 28. De Res Rosa. Ask for evaluation tickets and flowers. Advertisement. Just as Lei Luo headed straight for De Res Rosa on Sea Kings, Marineford's naval headquarters ushered in an unexpected visitor. The monstrous black fog swallowed all the outposts of Marineford, and the ghost spiders, flying squirrels and other vice admirals were defeated one after another. Damn it. What is the origin of this guy? Such a powerful pirate, there is no record on the arrest warrant. All the vice admiral headquarters looked at each other, and they all saw deep shock in each other's eyes. The weird black mist cannot be touched at all. Once touched, it will be swallowed immediately, and when it is spit out again, the living person has become a corpse. A capable person would be instantly deprived of his ability if he touched him. This guy is simply a walking sea stone. Suddenly, a burst of icy chill hit. The pirate who was extremely arrogant in the last second instantly turned into an ice sculpture. Chill. Kuzan Admiral. It's Kuzan Admiral. Great. This stupid guy dared to come to naval headquarters to play wild. He deserves to be frozen to death. Before the words fell, Jian Bingwu, who was braving the icy cold, disappeared. Admiral Aokiji. Thief ha ha ha. Finally someone who can talk. Blackbeard the thief laughed, and a mouthful of white mist spewed out of his toothless mouth. A gust of cold wind blew by, and Aokiji appeared in the cold wind with a gloomy face. Can anyone easily break his ice these days? The scene of Jian Bingwu's disappearance brought back too many bad memories for him. Aokiji's arm turned into ice, and the surrounding air seemed to be frozen. Pirate, you will know how stupid it is to provoke marine. Black smoke was billowing from Blackbeard's body. Thief ha ha ha. Admiral, do you still know me? Aokiji's face changed visibly. Blackbeard. Isn't this guy dead? His heart was pierced. How could he still be alive? Advertisement. The Blackbeard thief laughed. I'm here to find you, Marshal, to get back what I deserve, and to give you what you want. One Piece King Rogers. Blackbeard prolonged the ending on purpose. The flesh on his face trembled, and his posture was extremely arrogant. As an insider of One Piece Rogers' evil blood-related news, Aokiji can only swallow this sulk. Come with me. 2 days later, De Res Rosa, known as the Land of Love, Passion and Toys, is located on a tropical island with a very resort style. Everyone knows that when you come here, you can see the fairy tale scene of living toys and human beings living in harmony, but they don't know the cruel and bloody reality behind this fairy tale scene. These moving toys were originally people. In the study of the Palazzo de Res Rosa, Doflamingo is flipping through the latest issue of the newspaper. The new 7 warlords of the sea. Blackbeard Marshal D. Teach. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. This lone pirate with an unknown bounty seems to have reached a special deal with the world government. He was the second person to win the 7 warlords of the sea position alone since the establishment of the 7 warlords of the sea system. Close black lens bracket. Bounty unknown. Just seal Shichibukai, and did not follow the process to let the current 7 warlords of the sea vote. Brother Ming pushed the sunglasses on the bridge of his nose. Interesting, is he from the D clan again? My lord, my lord. Suddenly, bursts of crisp and tender girls' voices sounded outside the study. Doflamingo put down the newspaper, and there was a rare smile on Yin Jae's face. Come in, sugar. Squeak. The door opened, and a short, bold figure came in. He had short green hair, blue-purple eyes, and a light-colored checkered skirt that matched his fair skin perfectly. Granulated sugar. The most important cadre of the Don Quixote family, the most cadre think tank Torre Pole is her bodyguard, a childlike fruit-capable person, whose appearance will always stay at 10 years old, but in fact he is already 22 years old, and the toys who get along well with others are just now it is from her handwriting. You should stay in the underground factory at this time. Besides, you shouldn't leave Torrepole's sight. Mingo pampered and rubbed the little head of Granos, who squinted his eyes and enjoyed it. Advertisement. It's okay. Grandpa G came with me. The factory is too boring. Torrebel said he has something to inform you, so I'll run errands for him. What's the matter? Brother Ming asked. Marine has issued the 7 warlords of the sea compulsory omen order. The 7 warlords of the sea are required to go secretly to naval headquarters in Marineford in a month's time. Sasuke took a bunch of grapes from Mingo's desk, which was actually prepared for her. Brother Ming never eats grapes. Compulsive signs. Bark 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 bark. It looks like Marine is in trouble, but wanting me to die without saying anything. Hey, stupid. Don't bother with this matter, don't reply. Granos eats grapes and nods. Yeah. The young master's decision was right. The greatest young master, the young master of the noblest celestial dragon's bloodline, who will rule the entire world in the future, how could he work for a mere Marine? Marine is really stupid. Granu was thinking like this, but he didn't realize that Doflamingo's face was getting gloomy. For some reason, he always felt that this compulsory recruitment was inextricably linked with the newly appointed Shichibukai. Suddenly, a huge human face appeared on the wall of the study room, and the high-pitched voice of Pika, the head of spades, sounded, "It's not good, young master." White paper flower Lei Luo suddenly appeared in the sea off de Ris Rosa. The visitor is not good. Pika, the stone fruit ability user, confused with the ground and rocks, and can quickly travel through any place with soil, monitoring the entire de Ris Rosa at all times. Lei Luo. An inexplicable look flashed in Brother Ming's pupils under the sunglasses. This shrunken guy finally showed his head. However, he obviously came too late, and his route was already owned by the Don Quixote family. Is it not good to come back? Are you looking for trouble for de Ris Rosa? Then he probably picked the wrong opponent. Even if this guy can fight against 2 marine admirals at the same time, he is definitely not his opponent. What he has mastered is the power of a king, the absolute power that only an emperor can master. Conquerors, all people with shallow fate will kneel under this power. Chapter 29. The Heavenly Dragon Noble Who Fell into the Mortal World. Ask for evaluation tickets and flowers. Advertisement. Off the coast of de Ris Rosa, the sudden appearance of the huge tiger-headed sea kings caused a commotion in the port. Big troll. Lei Luo sat on the tiger's head, took out his phone and dialed. "Ah Jin. It's me." A hoarse middle-aged voice came from the other end of the phone. "Boss, we arrived yesterday. As you ordered, only Rudolph and I came, and none of the brothers in the regiment brought us. In addition, we have already checked the distribution of the strongholds of the Don Quixote family is waiting for your instruction." The corners of Lei Luo's mouth curled into an arc. "Very well, there is a huge tower building in the southwest of Arcand Riasrosa. Find it and occupy it. Rudolph, there is a person named Sugar in the cadres of the Don Quixote family. Find her and come back, I am useful. Remember, don't let that little girl's hand touch you, otherwise you will become a toy, and we will completely forget your existence." "Yes, clear." 2 crisp voices came from the phone bug. "Since we are going to fight, we must not leak water and cut off the lifelines of the man-made Devil Fruit Factory and the childlike fruit ability user Granos, all of them." After finishing the pre-war deployment, Lei Luo stood up, stretched his waist, took a deep breath. "Doflamingo. Get out." The sound was like a thunderclap, and the surrounding sea water was shaken up. The sound spread from the offshore, penetrating the entire kingdom of de Ris Rosa. Almost at the same time, a figure like a soaring flamingo swayed from the other side of the cloud. Flamingo Dachang, dressed in pink, has blonde hair, dark skin, coffee-colored sunglasses on the bridge of the nose, and pointed leather shoes like a circus clown under his feet, bringing out a full mix-and-match style. This guy is right. Heavenly Yaksha, Don Quixote Doflamingo. Babbling. Advertisement. Brother Ming barked and smiled strangely. "Who am I?" "It turns out to be the second in command of the Whitebeard pirates, Your Excellency Lei Luo. I've heard about your feat of fighting against 2 marine admirals at the same time. You visited de Ris Rosa, why didn't you say it in advance, and I will do my best to be a landlord." Brother Ming hooked the clouds in the sky with a thin thread, and said, modestly, floating in the air. Although he looks arrogant and rebellious on the surface, in fact he has always been cautious. Even with the power of Conqueror's Haki, he would not dare to face Lei Luo, a terrifying existence who has fought against 2 marine admirals and is backed by Whitebeard. The slightest carelessness. In addition, de Ris Rosa is his old nest. Even if he is sure of winning Lei Luo, he will not easily make a move. Lei Luo stretched his waist, stood up from the top of the tiger-headed sea kings, raised his hand and pointed his index finger at Brother Ming. "Don't talk nonsense. I know what you did. One day, I will give you one day. Get out of this de Ris Rosa." Brother Ming's eyes under the sunglasses suddenly turned cold. "Want me to get out of de Ris Rosa? I get out. What do you have to do with a lost dog who has lost the Chamber of Commerce and no influence? With Whitebeard behind you. Stop making such jokes, you idiot. The fallen celestial dragons are still celestial dragons, even Whitebeard dare not touch Lousy. Who the hell are you?" Doflamingo pretended to be crazy and smiled strangely in midair. Lieutenant Captain Lei Luo really knows how to joke. "If you want to choose the new location of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce in de Ris Rosa, we can cooperate." "Cooperate? Oh, you are also worthy of a bereaved dog." Saying this, Brother Ming had already secretly manipulated the parasite string to go around above the clouds, approaching Lei Luo silently. De Ris Rosa is his lair. If it is not necessary, it is best not to fight. Even if you want to fight, you must end the battle with the least cost. Advertisement. Parasite string can manipulate people like a marionette. As long as they are parasitized, they cannot escape. Cooperate. Oh, you also deserve it. When Lei Luo's voice sounded, Doflamingo's face became more and more gloomy. With a slight movement of his fingers, the parasite string hanging from the cloud suddenly accelerated and directly attached to Lei Luo's body. Very good. There was a fierce light in Brother Ming's eyes, and he yanked the parasite string violently, turning him into a puppet, Lei Luo. However, in the next moment, the fierce light in Brother Ming's eyes suddenly froze, and was replaced by a touch of shock that cannot be added. The pulled parasite string straightened instantly, but Lei Luo on the opposite side remained motionless. How could it be? Brother Ming was a little dazed. It was the first time he met someone who was parasitized by parasite string but couldn't control it. This Lei Luo, is he really that strong? But he just couldn't even find the parasite string. This kind of trick, don't show it to embarrass yourself. When the voice sounded, Lei Luo flicked his fingers, and there was a swift sound of breaking the wind. Snapped. With this soft sound, Brother Ming's 5 fingers trembled, and in the blink of an eye, his parasite string broke, and his fingers were also shaken with pain, but the other party obviously just flicked his fingers. Chapter 30. Stop talking nonsense, I'm here to plant the flag. Ask for flower evaluation. Advertisement. As expected of a guy who can fight Admiral Aokiji for 3 days. A look of fear flashed in Doflamingo's eyes, and he slowly withdrew his trembling fingers. As expected of Vice Captain Lei Luo, his tactics are really clever. I just felt itchy and offended, I'm really sorry. There was a sneer on the corner of Lei Luo's mouth. Itchy hands for a while. It's easy to handle, chop it up. Doflamingo's face froze. He didn't expect this Lei Luo to be so aggressive, but he still had a smile on his face. I know the purpose of Vice Captain Lei Luo's trip. Vice Captain Lei Luo really misunderstood it. You must have heard some rumors outside. The business of the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce is really not my intention to invade. Think about it. Once Marine's reward order is released, you have no news, and the White Paper Flower Chamber of Commerce has no leader. If I don't take action, help you take care of it, those roots will definitely be swallowed up by others. You say, is this the truth? Lei Luo was amused by Doflamingo's remarks. This guy can really live in vain. During the conversation, the cadres of the Don Quixote family arrived one after another. The Cube Cadre Diamante came with his Cube army. BABY5, Senor and others were all in place. The people on the coastal pier are also gathering more and more. Doflamingo was certain that this de Reis Rosa was his territory after all. Seeing that Lei Luo didn't speak, he continued. So, I really just had a good intention. Help you take care of the business, so as to prevent the young people from encroaching. But Doflamingo changed the subject. We are all in business, and hosting can't make me just run errands for nothing, right? I don't care, it's just that there are hundreds of mouths waiting to eat. Lei Luo sat down again on top of the tiger-headed Poseidon, and said coldly, Brother Ming, you have such a mouth, tisk tisk, if I didn't know what you are, I almost believed it. Listening to Lei Luo's words, the veins on Doflamingo's forehead throbbed faintly. I'm telling the truth, isn't it just a little business, we can sit down and have a good talk, what do you think? Advertisement. To tell you the truth, I also have a lot of profitable business under my hand. I recently invested in a scientific research project, and I have already seen the first benefits. The beast's pirates are taking goods from me. If Vice Captain Lei Luo is willing, let's talk calmly. If there is business, let's do it together. I bear the name of 7 warlords of the sea, and I can get a lot of convenience from the government. Doflamingo said so much hype, but in fact there is only one meaning behind the words. You Lei Luo has Whitebeard behind you, and I, Doflamingo, have Kaido of the beasts behind me, and I am a legitimate high thief granted the right to plunder by the world government. I hope you understand, son, we either need to make a fortune together, or if we really fight, I'm not afraid of you. Lei Luo sneered for a while, and said vaguely in his words, are you here, threatening me? Doflamingo barked and laughed strangely, and all the cadres of the Don Quixote family behind him also smiled contemptuously. Lieutenant Captain Lei Luo was joking, I just want to prove to you that I have the strength to cooperate with you. Brother Ming laughed, the arrogance in his words was self-evident. I remember a good game was arranged in the big arena in the city today, Diamante, you go and arrange it, and I will watch and chat with Vice Captain Lei Luo. Doflamingo waved to his cadres. That's it, put away your deviousness, Doflamingo. If you want to watch the game, it will be after I win de Reis Rosa. Then, I can watch it anytime. It's not impossible to reserve an audience seat for you. Lei Luo said in a cold voice, Brother Ming is Kaido of the beasts for a while, and 7 warlords of the sea for a while, do you really think he is scared? Doflamingo's complexion changed for a while, this Lei Luo couldn't be bothered. The words have been made very clear, does he really want to fight to the death? Advertisement. Lei Luo, don't be too arrogant, when you come out, you must know how to advance and retreat. Our young master can be the king of Reis Rosa, and even a noble heavenly dragon. The young master treats you with courtesy, don't. The cadres of the Don Quixote family headed by Diamante roared angrily, thinking that this white paper flower Lei Luo was too ignorant of current affairs and too disrespectful to his young master. Before they finished speaking, they were stopped by Doflamingo. Deputy Captain Lei Luo, I am the king of this country in de Reis Rosa, and one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Beasts Pirates and I have a stable cooperation channel, and I sincerely want you to make a fortune together. It is you. Do you really not give me any face at all? What Doflamingo said speaks of Hong Guguo's sincerity, and someone else might be really moved by his persuasion. But Lei Luo's purpose for this trip is clear, give you face. Are you worthy? Stop the ink. As I said, I'm here to plant the flag. The indifferent words contained a power that despised the world, and the cadres of the Don Quixote family were so angry that they did not dare to act rashly. On the contrary, Doflamingo snapped his hands together, and the faint aura of the red-black condensed around his body, erupting outrageously and spreading instantly. Following the traction of an air engine, it crushed towards Lei Luo in a daze. In that case, let's try it.